Welcome to another exciting edition of Brandon's Face. My name is Brandon with the Face.
And I'm Jonathan.
This is the podcast about a playlist. Every month, John and I will add music to a playlist. Most of it new releases, some of it old, some curveballs thrown in there as well. You can follow our playlist on Spotify, which we'll be leaving a link to the playlist in our show notes. John, can you tell me what we missed in music news this August?
Man, this month was fucking crazy, wasn't it?
It was wild, man.
Oh my God, beyond the releases, we have so much going on. So let's get to the most important thing first. The King has resurfaced. Kendrick Lamar. You're not on socials, so I don't know if you caught this, so this is going to be kind of fun to break to you. He put out a post saying that his next album will be his last on TDE.
Oh,
So, what has easily been the most dominant and probably influential record label of the past decade is losing its anchor, which is kind of crazy. How do
so
you feel about that?
well, I'm more curious about what this means for Kendrick. If it's his last release on
So,
TDE, does that mean he's starting his own label, or is
so
TDE his?
last year, I think about a year ago exactly from the post where he said this the other day. He did a weird like social media wipe last year and did a post, I think, and it was like about a new company he was starting called PD Lang, and nobody really knew what it
I
was.
remember this actually.
Exactly. I think that's what this is.
I mean that it would make sense for him to get into the production end and kind of line his pockets that way, along with his music, which I mean sucks for TDE, but that video you
Yeah.
sent me with what's his name? Why am I blanking on his name? Rapping from TDE
Oh,
on
Ray
Power
Vaughn
106.
that they
Yeah,
just
Ray Vaughn,
signed.
exactly.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So I mean, I mean nobody's ever going to be able to replace Kendrick on that lineup, but at least they still got some talent. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I think he'll forever be associated with. I don't think this is not leaving on amicable terms. I just think he's gonna do his own thing, and we'll see where that goes. We'll talk about his first um, release of music that he did give us this month in quite
right.
some time, and Jesus Lord, what he said in there.
Well,
Um,
and it's also funny because some artists will create record labels and then they will still release their own music on somebody else's. I'll give you an
yeah,
example of Feed Me, who we're going to talk about. He started Soda Voce, like back in 2012, 2013, and released an album on that, and then subsequently started releasing stuff on Mousetrap. So I think the album that came out in August was released on Soda Voce, which there was some legal trouble there as well. But it's interesting. I'm sure Kendrick will still be involved with Top Dog Enterprises. So
yeah, very interesting news. We'll see where that goes. Next, another small bit of music news. Paramore got a songwriting credit retroactively on Olivia Rodrigo's Good For You. A lot of
all
people had
right.
noted similarities between those songs, that and Misery Business. This isn't really surprising. Taylor Swift has two writing credits on the album for like similar inspiration. So I think it's cool that her label's paying these people and giving them credit, you know?
I honestly I think that's amazing, and yeah, the similarities on in Rodrigo's when we reviewed that album, we both were noting the Paramore similarities in a lot of those songs. So that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm glad for that.
Yes. Yeah, well, I'm interested to see if she embraces the rock sound anymore after this album. I don't really think she will, but I hope she does, and we'll see. It would be cool actually, now that this is kind of out in the open, if her and Haley did a collaboration.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Well, as Burt McCracken said at his show last night in Irvine, California, emo is back, man.
Were you there?
I was not there. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law were there, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, it was the Used opening up for Coheed, and apparently Burt McCracken went went on stage and screamed that emo was back, and then started crying, which is really
Yeah.
amazing.
Love Bert. Fucking love Bert. All right, and our last little bit of music news. Drake teased the Certified Lover Boy release date yesterday in the morning on ESPN with like a weird kind of anonymous style hack video type thing. And
Why
the
do
it's
I
like a
hate
guy
that so
like,
much?
yeah, it's stupid. It's as stupid as the little heart shaped in his head for the last fucking year and a half that his
Oh
barber is
man.
probably so tired of doing. Um, the teaser says September 3rd, which is next weekend.
Wow.
He has reignited his feud with Kanye West, as you and I have been texting a little bit about.
Oh,
And
Kanye.
after Kanye's third listening party, which I've completely tuned out of at this point, the only things I saw were the headlines, which Marilyn Manson, the baby, and all, and what you were texting me last night that Reddit was having a lot of fun with. Um,
Kanye West featuring Jeffrey Epstein.
yeah, that actually would be impressive if he pulled that off at
Oh,
this point.
for sure.
Um, yeah, I don't care at all what he's doing anymore. He's so far off my radar for the most part, but it does appear after Apple Music updated his release date for the like fifth time that both albums will be dropping head to head next week.
You know,
Um,
I'd like to think that there's one dude at Apple Music that's responsible for changing those dates, and I like to think that he's also sick of Kanye's shit. You know?
I would hope so. I hope just one day he like just types in there, stop fucking asking me, I don't know.
Just
Like,
never. Like
yeah. I mean, do you care at all at this point?
no.
Are you
And you know I've been a vocal proponent of Kanye. I enjoy his music as much of a weirdo as he is as a human being. His music has lived on, and I think I'll always love My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I think it's a wonderful album. I think it's sonically amazing, and it was really
Mhm.
special at that point in time in music, and it. He's put out a lot of good music, but I really stopped caring after he put out Jesus is King. Um,
He's just not that guy anymore.
he's not
Like
that
he's
guy.
not Graduation or the Dropout trilogy. Like he's not that same guy anymore. And as much as like he likes to like reference the past with, having his like old house and shit or whatever it was on stage last night or built in the middle of this field, like it's so far disconnected from what I think any of us are really looking for at this point.
Yeah, yeah, and you know it's funny. I actually saw a comment on the Reddit post, and I'll try to link up to the user who actually posted it. But somebody said something along the lines of, "Are we not going to talk about that Eminem did this with literally with Marilyn Manson first?"
Yeah.
Like in
Yep.
the
This
Way I
is
Am music
not
video,
new.
it's Marilyn Manson in front of Eminem's old house. So I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. I will listen to the album if when it comes out, but I'm really not excited for it anymore. You know, he's let his fans down so many times, and even since the first release party, I never logged in. I never tried to watch it. I knew it was just going to be garbage. So
Spectacle,
yeah,
merch sales.
it is what it is, man.
Well, let's move on to some good music because we have a fuckload of it this month to cover, and I'm excited to get into it. What about
Yes,
you?
we do. I'm very excited to talk to you this month because we've had some, like you and I were saying before the show. I've thrown a number of these albums on my albums of the year list so far, and 2021 is stacking up to going to be a very difficult decision come December. So
Yes.
let's jump into the singles. Looks like the first single we have to talk about this month is very welcome and Under Oath single called Hallelujah, which is a very ironically named song because they recently came out as a not Christian band. And so I mean we got our clean vocals right. Last month we were talking about the single that they had put out before this last month, and we were kind of lamenting that we didn't get to have any clean vocals, and we got our clean vocals, but It sounds really good, man. They're really showing off their range, and I actually did some sleuthing myself, and I guess the new album is announced, titled Voyeurist, and is slated for a January 14th release date, which seems
Oh.
way too far away for them to be releasing singles like this. So, what did you think about Hallelujah, John?
This reminded me of Old Under Oath. Like all the
Yep.
trademarks are there, the way Spencer and Aaron are trading off, the melodic bridge, the build to the breakdown. I love the way fucking Spencer yells, "This is fucking hell" before it drops. Like that's really good shit. I'm excited to cover that album. That is very far away. I'm not sure why they would announce it or be dropping like multiple singles off of it yet if it's still that long of a rollout, but I'll listen to it and I'm excited for it.
You know, it's possible they might be touring, or something like that, and wanted to put some new
True.
singles out to maybe sell some tickets or something along those lines. But I'm excited for the album nonetheless. And yeah, I have to agree with you. It does kind of remind me of old Under Oath. So
Emo
let's
is
see what
back,
happens.
motherfuckers.
Emo is back. I'm not gonna cry like Bert did, but we will be moving on. So I threw this single on, or this snippet of an album from a band called Tesseract. Sing Song name is Juno. It's off their album Sonder. I found this band this month. I stumbled upon them, and what were your thoughts?
I thought it was a good song. It's like heavy, anthemic. His voice is like operatic at times.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I really liked it. I really liked the bass. The bass player's competence on this song specifically. So I threw it on here. They actually just released a new album this week, but it's more of a conceptual kind of thing where they redid some songs live for some sort of live stream or something along those lines. It's a
Okay.
little confusing. I didn't throw it on the plailest, but I did give
Not
a
a
little.
true new album.
Yeah, it's not a true new album, but
To
it's
use your illusion too. Gotcha.
got it. Oh man, yeah. Well, I liked it. I'm going to be following them, and we might be talking about more of their music as it comes out, or something along those lines. But I didn't really have a chance to listen to a lot of their music this month because we had so much good shit. Um, so let's talk about the Flight Facilities, featuring Drama,
Yes.
Move. What did you think?
Uh, Absolute banger. They've killed it with every single release this year so far.
Just
I'm
incredible.
I'm still hoping for an album announcement, but I'll be happy if they just keep steadily releasing music because this is great.
Yeah, just keep giving me music. I'll put it all together in a playlist and call it an album if I need to. Yeah, this
Yeah,
this song actually
exactly.
reminded me a little bit of Gorgon City. The way they kind of structure their music.
Hmm.
The vocals are fucking awesome. It's a great vocal house track, and I'm I'm ready for more already.
Yeah, me too. It was fucking awesome.
Right. It's good shit. All right. I think the next one is one that you and I have been waiting for a long time. The Weekend, Take My Breath.
Hmm.
It's funky. It's catchy. It is very well produced. It's very good. Fucking all aboard the hype train.
Yeah, it's I'm always gonna miss the like trilogy Kissland era Weekland Kissland era weekend. But when I hear like the new music he's making, I realize he's just as good at making great pop songs as he was at making great R&B songs. I'm sure this song's going to be playing on the radio for the next year plus, and I'll be very tired of hearing it soon.
Absolutely.
But for now, it's very catchy. Max Martin will definitely get another number one with this, as if he needs it. It seems this is the beginning of a new album rollout, and if the singles anything to go on, it sounds like it's going to have a lot of that French electronic new wave influence on it, which if this is the direction he's leaning into, I'm here for it. I like it.
Yeah. No, I'll agree with you. I really I do miss a little bit of that era. But one of the things that I like about The Weeknd is that he is so versatile, and is now able to throw a little bit more party into his live shows, which used to be a little bit more subdued when he was releasing some of his earlier stuff. So
Yes.
now he gets to kind of open with small or slow, subdued kind of ballad heavy stuff, and then he gets to kind of end things with a party, which I think is probably what I would do if I were him making this music. But I think it's good. I think this is very catchy, and gotta love that synthwave bass.
Yeah,
So,
we'll see what's next.
we talked a little bit about this next band, We Are Scientists. Last month, they put out a song this month called "Handshake Agreement." This song is a great poppy groove. The chorus is really good. I really like the chorus. This album rollout seems to be solid so far.
Yeah, another good catchy song. Feels kind of like a festival track to me.
Yeah, and you know what? I kind of like that out of a rock band. So,
Yeah, me too.
yeah. All right, I threw this on. I'm a huge fan of Tin Liquor. Tin Liquor and Dosem put out a song called Hypnotized. How many house tracks are we going to have named Hypnotized? Somebody out there listening, do the math. How many house songs are named Hypnotized? Solid track. It's fleeting, it's leading, it's progressive. It's exactly what you would expect from a Tin Liquor and a Dosem collaboration.
Yeah, Tin Liquor's very consistent. It's a great this and the other song that they released with
Yeah,
it, I Can Feel, are both very solid releases.
exceptional progressive house music. Absolutely love it.
Totally. Yeah.
Um, all right, so I think I put on this Rodriguez Jr. remix of a song called "Respect Me" by 8Ks. I'm a huge fan of Rodriguez Jr. It's one guy. He really kills it with everything that he does, all of his work. I'm not sure if you're very familiar with it, but I'm a big fan of it. This song is great. I fucking loved it.
Uh, I have no idea who any of the artists involved in this song are, but
Okay,
techno's a universal language, so I speak it
correct.
well and I enjoy it.
Well, so Rodriguez Jr., I follow Circle on YouTube and
Mhm.
CERCLE, and they,
Amazing
obviously
videos.
amazing videos, putting DJs and music producers in some of the most beautiful places on the planet. Sometimes there's a crowd, sometimes there's not. It's mainly focused on the music, which I really enjoy, and I found Rodriguez Jr. on a set of theirs that they had posted, and I was like, "That's a weird fucking name. Let me click on it." Whoa, dude! I'll leave a link to the show notes, and I highly suggest you watch it. I watch it 3 or 4 times a year.
Wow.
It's special. It's I forget where it is, but it's on the French coast, and it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful, beautiful scenery, beautiful music. It's with an artist that he collabs with. I forget her name, but she does a lot of the vocals on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good shit. I highly recommend it. And I don't know who 8Ks or Lazarus Man are before this song, but yeah, I see Rodriguez Jr. and I can't help but listen to it. So
Yeah, for sure. This was good. I'll check more of that out and definitely watch that circle set.
I definitely do. Speaking of techno, let's talk about Richie Hawtin's 10-minute Acid King track.
Yeah.
What did you think, man?
I thought this is gonna be a really good track for him to work into his sets.
Yes.
My only note just says fucking techno, man.
Yeah.
It's about like all I could really process verbally after listening to it, you
My
know?
only note was, I just love acid techno, man. It's so good. It's
It's
good. It's
that
very long
simple.
though.
If you get it, you get it.
Yes, if you're a fan of techno, you will like this song. And we're not talking about electronic music as a whole here. Um, all right, Georgia Smith,
Yeah.
all of this.
Yeah, Georgia Smith, all of this. So I don't know who Guilty Beats is, but
Same.
yeah, I if I see Georgia Smith, I add the song. That's pretty much my rule.
Right.
Uh,
Nobody
she
can
can
blame you
do
for
no
that.
wrong. She does her thing here on a very like minimal UK garage dance hall track and kills it.
Yeah. I enjoyed this song. It's not my favorite of hers, but I did enjoy this song.
Yeah, same. I mean, I don't really consider it. I think it's just a feature for a producer, but it is what it is.
Yep. Alrighty, we've got a Zakari track called "Rainy Day" featuring Isaiah Rashad and Buddy.
Hmm.
Tell me about this.
So Zakari, he's on TDE, probably most known for doing the chorus on Love by Kendrick Lamar.
Uh,
Um, I thought this was really interesting because he's still so far under the radar considering he's on TDE. And I don't really expect him to shoot to superstardom because he did the hook on a song that not even a lot of people realize he did the hook on. But his music's usually pretty good and consistent, and I think he's a decent singer. Um, he just really hasn't managed to gain any traction as like an up and comer. This track isn't anything outstanding, but I thought all three of them delivered a pretty good song, just not very memorable.
See, I thought that this was really smooth. It
Yeah.
was really smooth and it really worked. I was not aware that Zakari. I knew I recognized the voice somewhere, but I didn't bother looking into it because I knew you were going to tell me.
Hmm.
I liked this. I liked this song. It was really smooth.
Yeah, yeah. It's actually better Isaiah than on a lot of Isaiah's albums.
That I was just gonna say, man. I kind of like this song more than I liked anything from Isaiah's album. So
There's a few songs on his album that have kept growing on me, but maybe one or two. It's still the album hasn't won me over as much as a couple songs.
I haven't even like remembered to listen to it again. I told myself I was gonna try to get to it again after we reviewed it last month, and I didn't really have very many nice things to say. And I told myself I was gonna listen to it again. It's been a month, and I haven't even cared. So
Yeah. Yeah.
is what it is, right?
You're probably better off.
Well, speaking of people who released albums last month, hey Vince,
Yes, he is still making that money. He will take a check if some big corporation wants to write him one for doing a song.
this is
Uh,
fantastic.
yeah, him rapping about Pokemon. What the fuck?
Big fucking
Like,
fan. Big fucking fan. Let's
I
go.
yeah, I guess they're doing like a series of EPs. This was from the Red EP, I think. He's making that Nintendo money. God bless him.
Yeah,
Good for
I'm not. I'm
Vince.
not gonna be mad at that even a little bit. So,
Yep.
all right. Next we have a kind of a curveball. Phoebe Bridgers, who I'm a huge fan of, put out a Metallica cover of "Nothing Else Matters." Honestly, I could not think of somebody better to cover this song. She does really sad music really, really, really well.
Hmm.
And yeah, this song was great for the first half. And then the second half really threw me for a loop, man. Those drums that come in are just weird. So if we could cut that off at about halfway through the song, maybe two thirds when those drums start to come in, that'd be great. But I really liked the beginning of the song. What did you think about this cover?
I thought I'm just not a fan of these types of covers very much. I
No,
thought she did okay. It's fine. It's fine. I agree with you about the drums. I don't know. I'm just not as into like the folky pop people as you are at times. So like I hear it a little differently. I think the only reason this isn't much of a curveball is because Metallica, I think, is doing a whole covers album right now.
she is. They are. I think it was. I maybe I
It's
was saying.
progressive 2021. Metallica is now she as a pronoun.
Oh man, I really like that. I really like that. Okay, no, I thought it was I thought it was kind of a curveball because they're giving a lot of these. Well, and maybe I'm wrong because they did give some stems to Sebastian to do his magic with. So,
Yeah, yeah.
so yeah, I did like it. I really like Phoebe's voice. I'm gonna try to change your mind.
I should say that I do like her the person. I follow her on Twitter and she's hilarious on there. She's a very funny person in interviews on the Z-Way show. She was really funny. I don't know if you saw her interview on there. That
I
was
did
pretty
not.
bizarre.
Let's throw it in the show notes so
I
everybody else
think
can
she
too.
yeah, it's on YouTube. It's pretty hilarious. But yeah, I just some of her lyrics and songs are good, but they just don't really stick around with me as much. But
Okay.
I respect your like of her, and yeah, keep challenging me
Yeah, I'm gonna throw a
for it.
song on that's gonna definitely change your mind. I'm gonna tell you to put headphones on.
Is
I'm gonna
it
tell you to sink
Kyoto?
into it. It's definitely not Kyoto. It's one of my least favorite songs of hers. Um, so we'll see what you say.
All right.
That'll be
This
fun for next
conversation
month.
will continue next month.
It sure will. All right, so next up we have a Thrice single. You said last month that you're not really a Thrice guy. Robot Soft Exorcism off of their upcoming album. What are your thoughts on this one? Are you still not a Thrice fan?
Oh my God. Brandon, they're trying so fucking hard to be Radiohead on this song, dude. So I don't know if you heard it, but I actually banged my head against the wall there a second
I did
ago.
not. I didn't hear it.
Oh my God, dude. It's yeah. Yeah, that's all I heard while trying to it's like comical to me.
Okay.
Thumbs down. No.
Okay. Let's see. I didn't mind this song. Well, it's not my favorite Thrice song of all time, but I didn't mind it. Um, well, let's go ahead and move on so your brain can recover and hopefully not concuss. We were promised Jetpacks put out a song called "Not Me Anymore." This is it's it's a little slower, but I thought this song was
Hmm.
beautiful.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. I thought the first time I listened to it, it was okay. It felt like a song to me that would be in like some sort of indie movie. Like not bad, but not my thing. And then the other day,
I'm
my
sorry. What
wife,
do you have against indie movies, sir?
I don't know, do you like somebody filming a plastic bag blowing around in the wind? Because I'm not into that.
Okay,
Um, that's
fair.
a very old reference. I'm dating myself very much there.
It's American
Um,
Beauty, right?
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
listened to a book that I'll throw a shout out to here, Best Film Year Ever, about the year 1999 in movies. Fantastic book.
Okay,
I did the audiobook because I drive for a living, but
got it.
yes. But anyways, the other day my wife was listening to like her release radar or something, and this came on, and like I remember like I was like, oh, I think this song was okay. And then like as she listened to it, I was like, oh wait, this song really isn't that good.
Oh, you didn't like it?
Yeah, like by the second listen, I didn't. The first time I was like, it's good. The second listen, I didn't like as much. I liked the last song they released quite a bit more than this one.
This one's definitely a little slower than
Yeah.
typical. So,
I
well,
like my pop punk to be a little more punk than pop.
fair. That's super fair. That is super fair. All right. Well, Mr. Zebra Head fan, let's move on to Lizzo.
Yes.
Lizzo. I've been waiting for more Lizzo.
You're a fan of her last album, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. Who isn't? If
Yeah,
you're not, you're lying
yeah.
to yourself. Let's be real.
2019's Cause I Love You was in my probably top five albums that year.
Great album.
Definitely top 10, probably top five. Literally not a skip on it. Even the bonus tracks were all like platinum songs.
It honestly feels older than that because it feels like a classic album.
Yeah, I've actually seen it for less than 20 bucks at Barnes and Noble on vinyl. I need to pick that up next time I'm there.
What do you know?
Yep. Do you have that?
I don't. I don't.
Okay. Okay.
It's. I think that there was a version that was released as a double LP, which I think I want because to preserve the sound quality. Heavy vinyl.
Yeah.
Less pressing per
And
side.
Truth Hurts was not on the original album,
Oh,
which is easily the biggest single off of the album. It
right.
was recorded way before the album, didn't gain traction when it was released as a single, got put on the album because it just started picking up radio play. I'm a big Minnesota Vikings fan, so her saying that in that song and that song being on the radio always makes me happy. I've been dying for new music. I'm glad she took her time because this shit fucking rips.
It's amazing. It's really good.
Yeah, I loved. I think if this is the start to a new era, I'm very very excited. What did you think of this song?
So I loved all of this song. I'm not a big Cardi B fan, and I think that I'm just not a big fan of Cardi B. And for how much I am not a fan of hers, this is not her worst verse. But
No,
everything
it's
Lizzo
not.
touches is fucking gold. So
Yeah.
She's just got a way about her that's just incredibly confident, and I fucking love that, man. It's right where it needs to be for the type of music that she makes. So let's
It's
go. I'm ready
top level pop production. The
for
like
sure.
little fusion of drums and guitar. There, yeah. You bringing up the Cardi thing reminds me. One of the parts in her verse is actually amazing. Cardi ain't popping, no, that's the machine. Nobody's listening, they're buying them streams. They even posted on blogs overseas, a lie in a language I can't even read. What the fuck does this mean? It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's the best criticism to like the buying streams thing I've heard so far.
Oh,
And I
absolutely.
legitimately think she has no idea what people are talking about when she's accused of it.
Honestly, if I were Cardi, I wouldn't fucking care, and I can't
Yeah,
help
who
but
gives a
respect her
shit?
for just being unabashedly herself. I
Yes,
just when her voice, it's like when her voice comes on, it's like nails on a fucking chalkboard for me. So it's just not
yeah,
my thing
I
in
agree.
that aspect. But I can't help but respect everything she's done. So that's
Yeah,
what it is, you know.
yep. And last note on this song is just the radio version is fucking terrible.
Oh, is it
It's
really?
it's so bad. They edited it just horribly.
You,
It's chopped up so bad you can't even like recognize it as the same song almost.
you hate to see it, man. You
Yeah,
hate to
because the
see it.
whole cadence of the first verse, the oh god damn, that's come on man on the radio. Um, there's words in it that are edited that you would think are worse than other words that aren't. It's very fucking bizarre. It's Scarface on TV. It just doesn't. It's not
I
for me.
I mean, somebody needs to start a petition. Children who we're trying to protect with these foul languages are not tuning a radio anymore. It is 2021. These children we're trying to protect are on YouTube already. So I
Hmm.
don't know.
Yeah,
um,
well, the big banks control everything, and they're the advertisers, and they pay the advertisers. So
we're not going to get into banking policy and Citizens United on this
you want to talk
podcast.
about the OnlyFans change? We're
Let's
gonna get into
go.
that on that show.
Which one? The change from or the change back to? So,
Oh God, both.
oh
All
man,
right, moving on.
I was gonna save this for the albums portion, but I realized that it's not really a true EP. So let's just kind of go back. The Palms put out an
Yes,
EP. They called it California Baby / Diamond Hands. It's really just two singles put into one that they're calling an EP.
it's an album and a B-side.
This really is not my favorite release of theirs. California Baby is like weak. Diamond Hand kind of redeems it a little bit, but I really like the Palms, but I this didn't really hit the way I wanted it to. I think you and I had talked about the Palms a couple of months ago
Hmm.
when they had released something else. And what were your thoughts on this?
The exact same thing. I thought some of the lyrics were good. I thought Diamond Hands was better than California Baby, but not my thing. His voice didn't do it for me on this song at
It's
all.
weird, man. I'm a big fan of theirs, and it just didn't hit. So we'll see.
Nah.
We'll see what else they release. I'm still holding out optimistically for subsequent releases from them. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Um, switching gears into something I really fucking loved. Refuse to Soul put out another single, Next to Me. Hauntingly beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Just incredible production. You can't expect anything less from them, but this feels now like a solid album rollout for them again, and I'm very excited. They're kind of throwing new elements at us, clearly maturing as a band, and I can't wait to hear what's next. What did you think about this one?
Great track. Kind of feels like them doing their version of a Black Coffee song, and I really like it.
Okay, I like that. I didn't make that comparison myself, but I really like that comparison. So, all right, I think wow, really is the next single. We have a lot of albums this year or this month rather.
Hmm.
But the next single is a single that I put out that I put on the list. Mayday Parade's "Bad at Love." I need to hear your thoughts before I tell you mine.
The sound of his voice just takes me back, man. Like, it's so like, it's that moment at the end of Ratatouille when the food critic eats the fucking thing and flashes back to his childhood. Like, that's me when I hear some of these
Fair.
bands. I think the song is fine, but just hearing them still going and still making the exact same style of music they were 15 years ago just makes me happy.
I
So
I
props to them.
I wanted to hear your notes first because I knew they were going to be exactly the same as mine. Decent song, really happy still they're still making music the exact same way.
Yeah, who gives a shit? Don't adapt, don't trend chase, don't throw
Dude,
some
they're doing it,
fucking
man.
electronic bass in there.
No, they're doing it. I love it. I'm here for it. Keep coming.
Yeah.
Speaking of old bands that could take us back, Senses Fail put out a song with the vocalist from Ice Nine Kills, song called "Death by Water." John, I actually really thought that this song, when I saw it pop up on my release radar, judging by Senses Fail last album and how heavy Ice Nine Kills can be, I honestly thought, even with how heavy it is, I thought I was expecting, I thought I was going to be in for like a really heavy album or a really heavy song, but I guess I was wrong. I really enjoyed it though. What did you think about this?
I I think this is as close to a full-fledged emo revival as we're gonna get if we're covering this many emo songs and now
Emo's
back to
back.
back new emo releases.
Emo's back.
This is weird. Like I wish that I would have known this knowledge was gonna come in handy like 15 years later. I would have monopolized it in some way.
Oh
Um,
man.
uh, I don't know if I like this song or not, but I love Senses Fail, so I'm gonna say that I like it. The A Day to Remember style screaming was kind of weird to hear with their style of music, but at this point in their career, who really gives a fuck? Because like they're still putting out good music consistently. Their last album, I would argue, was maybe their best since
Got
not
it.
Let It Unfold You, but the one
Still
after that.
searching. Is that
Yeah,
what it's called?
probably since Still Searching. And they play the hits live. Like, what more do you want from a band like this at this point?
Yeah, it's funny. I saw AFI in 2016, and I always thought that they were just gonna play their new shit, and it was just solid hits. And I was like, okay, this is exactly what I wanted.
Yep.
So,
You
and
know, if
then
you hear the first notes of the Leaving Song Part 2 to start the show, that you came to the right AFI show.
yep, it's good. And then I've seen the used a handful of times in the last decade, and they always play the hits. It's always 4 o'clock in the fucking morning, no matter where you're seeing the used. So.
Oh man. Do they still do On My Own?
I've only heard it once, and that was at Taste of Chaos at the festival. They closed with On My Own. That is
Yeah. It's not
that's
like it's not the high energy acoustic song that like Emily is where people love to see it. Like
right.
he legitimately gets emotional when he plays that song and it's very
I
intense.
get goosebumps thinking about hearing it live, and I mean it brings me and my wife to tears every time we hear it. So
It's so good, man. I saw him right after they released In Love and Death. I think he had a knee surgery and like couldn't perform for about a year. And I saw his like first show back after that. And he fucking like comes on stage, they do their set. He comes back, does that song. Everyone's like drained, emotional, and then he just does a fucking backflip and walks off stage.
oh
Fucking
man.
Bert, man.
Man.
Amazing.
Well, I was getting kind of live updates from my brother-in-law when he was at the show last night, and oh man, the dude is just so funny. I think this is their first. It was their first post-pandemic show rather, and the used bird. He goes up. He goes, "This is a song by the Smashing Pumpkins," and then I guess he proceeded to play "Smells Like Teen Spirit." He just trolls the crowd every single chance he gets, and yeah, it's a go. Yeah, when we saw him, they opened, or they didn't open with it, but they started Light with a Sharpened Edge with "I Shot the Sheriff."
Oh my
And then just
God.
kind of rolled it together. It was really fascinating. They have a way of performing. So if any of you are around next to a show where the Used is playing, do yourself a favor and go to that show. They never disappoint. I've never had a bad time at a Used show. In fact, the In Love and Death reunion tour was or anniversary tour rather was my favorite show of all time. Best show I've ever been to, hands down. So.
If you have not seen them and you're a fan of that style of music, they have to be at the top of your list. Like they're a bucket list band to see live.
Absolutely, the energy is unreal. Energy
Yeah.
is unreal. All right.
And then second on the bucket list is seeing Burt McCracken drunk at a show you did not know he would be at, which happens just as much.
Yeah, man. It's funny. They posted an Instagram video, kind of showcasing that they have, they've been practicing and stuff like that for playing live again. And he grew his hair out again.
Oh
It's like
boy.
Steven's Untitled Rock Show all over again.
Oh
Here
God.
we go, dating ourselves again. All right.
Yep.
So, moving on from the emo, we have a Kevin Abstract featuring Ryan Beatty, Sierra Nights.
Mhm. Would you like me to go first?
Please do.
So, Kevin Abstract, kind of, I would say the de facto leader of Brockhampton. Ryan Beatty, not really an official member of Brockhampton, but does the hook on a lot of their most popular songs, notably Sugar. Um, I really wish this whole song was as good as the hook is. I'm not personally a fan of the verses on this, but I could see how people like this type of vibe. It's very similar to kind of one of the new Jaden Smith songs that we'll talk about shortly. They're songs meant for summer playlists, and they're fun to listen to and don't really have much staying power. Like I said, Ryan Beatty probably delivers his like second best hook next to Sugar. Um, I don't really know if there's gonna be another Brockhampton release or if he's Kevin Abstract has two solo albums and his last one was actually really good. So this could just be the beginning of another rollout for that.
All right.
But yeah, the Ryan guy kind of reminds me a little bit of Frank Ocean on this song. So I was interested in it. What about you?
I didn't really enjoy it that much, and I think that's my. I honestly had no idea who either of these people were. I know I have seen Kevin Abstract's
Mhm.
name places, and you've talked about Brockhampton 1,000 times, and it just didn't click. But I didn't really like this song that much.
Yeah, it's
The
more
I
vibes. I
did
didn't
hear
really think you would.
I did hear that Frank Ocean though. I actually heard a little bit of Chris Brown. I don't know who I was hearing that from, but so interesting. It was all right, but it's just not my jam.
Yeah, totally.
Cool.
Moving on to a song that probably was, or songs that probably were.
Yeah, Movements put out their B-sides from No Good Left to Give, Panic and No Silhouette.
Yeah, what did you think? I'm excited to know your
All
thoughts
right.
on these.
So, look, Panic kind of has that iconic emo tempo that just lets the guitars be pretty and the vocals whine so fucking perfectly. And No Silhouette is just a fucking amazing song, man. The drumming is exactly what the song needed to kind of elevate it above some of the other music in this scene. I'm surprised that these are B-sides and didn't make it to the album, but I'm really glad that they released them on streaming.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I my note was almost the same. It's like I'm surprised these tracks didn't make the album because they're so good.
Right.
Um,
Like,
and I'm sure picking which songs don't make the album for a band like them is not easy.
no, can't be.
Yeah,
It's
Panic
very
is
good.
classic movements, has that poetic structure to the lyrics.
Yep.
I really hope we get a rescheduled tour soon because they were supposed to come through here before the pandemic happened. I don't expect we'll get any more new music from them soon, but these were awesome to get. I'm glad they released them.
Yeah, I really enjoyed these. So and I was surprised to see their name and glad we threw these on the list because yeah, fuck, man, you're right. Emo really is back. I didn't really start thinking about how many emo songs we had to
It's crazy, dude. It's insane.
that we had to
We're
review.
we're alternative press in 2005 right now.
Fuck, man, get at me. Let's go. Let's go get sad.
Let me find my girl pants.
Songs that your sister's pants, right? All right, so songs that are not emo. Abra featuring with Boys Noise presumably on the beat. Unlock
Hmm.
It featuring Playboy Cardi. The
Hmm.
chorus is fine. I fucking hate Playboy Cardi, man. I can't get into it, dude. Obviously the beat is amazing. Thank you, Boys Noise, but I just not my jam at all.
Yeah, nobody ruins a song like Cardi, man. This song would be fucking great if he wasn't on it. He absolutely ruins it for me, and it sounds like you. I'm happy to see Abra releasing some music again. She was a very underground R&B singer like 5 years ago, and I don't think she's even done anything really outside of a few features since 2017. She had a really good like ambient R&B thing going on over this like very interesting boys noise beat, and I'd happily throw a version of this song without Cardi in my rotation, but that's not an option at this point.
I,
So
I'm baffled at how music like this gets popular, man. I can't. I'm baffled at how mumble rap like this, extremely auto-tuned, no real talent gets popular. And am I wrong? Do these people have talent that I'm not seeing?
I I don't I don't know, man. It's weird. I mean, I think we'll talk about it a little bit with like the Baby Keem verse with the Kendrick thing. Like there's just this style that's taken over, this reverby, auto-tuned out. I mean, Travis Scott, I guess, is kind of responsible for where it's at this point, but I'm with you, man. I don't like it. Like, I think that's why you and I tend to gravitate, at least in hip hop, towards like Benny the Butcher or like, somebody that's actually just rapping or using their voice. And it's not that you and I are like ignorant or afraid of change. We like experimentation quite a bit, but this isn't experimentation. This is repetition at this point. And I guess it's the numbers that are really selling it to the executives paying for these verses because you and I know that like these songs are going to a boardroom of like 30 middle-aged white people that are hearing this and they're like, this sounds like garbage. And they're like, this is how many streams it's going to get with this guy on it, and this is how much money you'll make. And they're like, sounds good. And
Yeah,
that's where it ends.
yeah. I know you're totally right. And look, man, I think Lil Wayne probably started the whole "let's auto tune everything" sort of thing.
Well, T-Pain, but
Well,
yes.
T Pain, but I think Lil Wayne took it with the rap side of things, right?
You're yes, him and Kanye both kind of switched. I would say when Kanye did the put on verse for Jeezy is when the auto-tune rap started.
Yeah, and look, I actually I'm a fan of Lil Wayne, right? Like he's put out some
Peak Little
really
Wayne, yes.
incredible, iconic music,
Hmm.
in my opinion, obviously. But these guys kind of take it too far. So when Lil Wayne does the auto tune, when Kanye does the auto tune, you can hear their very individual cadence. You can hear a little bit of their voices come through. I can't differentiate between Lil Pump, Playboy Cardi, or Travis Scott at this point. And maybe Travis Scott, I'm bloviating and talking in hyperbole, but I really can't differentiate that much between these guys. And I mean, if I didn't see who it was, I would have a very difficult time kind of pointing that out. But then, I mean, you look at people who aren't auto tuning, and I mean, you can easily point out everybody else's voice
Hmm.
because everybody has a distinctive voice. So it just kind of takes the individual and the individuality out of it, and it makes it just to me just. And then everybody has the same fucking pentameter. Everybody's got that same cadence, and it's just
Brandon, Brandon,
I hate it. All right.
this is why you should only listen to Freddie Gibbs.
Understood. No, for real. Like,
That's really where it ends. Just listen to Freddie Gibbs and you'll be
all
happy.
right. I'm gonna stop my rant here. Thank you for kind of halting me because I do get on that. All right. Jaden's Summer. I've got a quote from this song that I really enjoyed. He goes, "I got some magic up my sleeve like I'm Dumbledore. Goody two shoes. Let's get in trouble more." I really loved this song, man. It was fun. It was exciting. It was original. I really liked this song.
Yeah, I part of me feels too old to like this song, but I do like it. Um, it feels like it's like, oh man, it's like preying on almost a nostalgia that I don't have or something. It's really like I wasn't a kid in the generation that this song is supposed to be nostalgic for kids for, but I do get it. He actually released the album for this. I didn't add it yet. I haven't really
I
had a
see.
chance to skim it yet, but We'll probably throw that on to start next month so we have some content.
Yeah, I like that.
Um, but yeah, his style is very he's not a kid anymore, but his style is very juvenile and amateur, and it takes some adjusting to. But like for the lines you just said, if you can just like, you know, manage your expectations or adjust them to what he delivers, then you can enjoy it.
Right.
Yeah, I really
Yeah.
enjoyed his track "Bye" earlier this year as well. So hopefully it's a decent album.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear it. Moving on to a completely different area of music. Let's get back to some techno and talk about Kolsch's "Hold and Clear" release as a single. I'm gonna kind of just jump in here, John.
Mhm.
This man can do no fucking wrong. Uh, this really creates. He really creates a very original and specific atmosphere with his music. Hold to me kind of has this vibe of exploration, a little bit of mystery to it. Where Clear kind of has this vibe of like discovery. I think these two songs were released at the same time on purpose, very much like this. The fucking strings in Clear are, oh man, it just
That's
it
my note too.
oh
Yeah.
man, it breaks me down. This guy Kolsch did a circle set at the top of the Eiffel Tower, which I will always bring up because it's important, dude. Dude is incredible. I've seen him once. I was gonna say I missed him at a festival, but I did see him at Sound Nightclub, which was a really cool show.
Yeah. Yeah. We reviewed, I think, a song or a remix he did a month or two ago.
Yep.
Fantastic as well. If you haven't listened to Kolsch, definitely do it. This is a great pair of songs. My notes are almost identical to you. Those strings in Clear,
Fuck.
really the highlight of the two songs for me. Very consistent, high quality techno. Love it.
Yeah, those strings just kind of elevate this style of music into something that is different, like
Yeah,
real different. So,
agreed.
all right, more electronic music. Let's talk about Atlas, "Into the Arms of Lovers," featuring Mei Lin, who I had never heard of.
Me either.
What were your thoughts?
Beautiful song. I thought it's a great example of what Atlas can do when he's kind of at his best with, a vocalist working with him.
Yeah,
I really like the style of music that he's been perfecting over these years. Similar to Porter, like Jai Wolf, but with kind of a mousetrap feel to it. I really
yeah,
like it.
yeah. It's really good. In fact, it was not released on Mousetrap. Atlas used to be on Mousetrap,
Yes.
but he's no
Best
longer.
strobe remix.
Yeah. All right. Well, I really like this song. It's perfect, Atlas. It's really good. Beautiful vocals. These vocals sound really familiar. I feel like I've heard these vocals in a track that she wasn't credited on. Maybe she made some original music and it was sampled or something along those lines. But it sounds really familiar, her voice. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
chase that a little bit.
I'll look further into that.
Yeah, definitely. All right, we have a very special one next. Boa Vista by a Mr. Stefan Bodzin. Um, let me hear your thoughts.
This dude, we have so much fucking techno this month. I thought this was
You're
another
welcome.
great song. I honestly like didn't take a ton of notes on this. I thought it was a very solid techno song. I couldn't remember if we'd covered a song of his already.
It's possible. It's
Um,
possible, or I had maybe sent you something. I'm not
I
sure.
know that like I've heard Singularity, but I don't know if I'd heard it from you or not.
Probably.
Uh, Yeah, fantastic song. I honestly kind of need to dive deeper into his music, and maybe we should throw some of your favorites on the next month.
Oh, okay. Big fan of this guy. He put out Powers of 10, I believe, in 2015,
Yes,
2016.
2015.
Yeah, it's 2015, and
That's what had Singularity
it
on
does
it.
have Singularity on it, and it just fucking spoke to me. So this dude had had Moog create a custom production controller for him. He has the only one. It's a one of one, and he brings it to his live sets. It's really neat. I'll leave a link in the show notes for him. I think it's on YouTube where he kind of shows you how he does it and what he did. It's really neat. It's a custom MIDI. So this guy's
That's
level of
awesome.
production is just insane. So I guess an album has been announced. This is the lead single off of that. It's called Boa Vista. Set to release on 10/11, so that's pretty soon. Um,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and just throw the whole album Powers of 10 onto this on the next month, if that's all right, so we can both review
Yes.
that,
Let's do
because
it.
it is it's very special in my heart. The whole album together as one is as one piece of music is important, and I highly recommend anybody listening, and you, John, to kind of, it's long. I think it's maybe an hour and 20 minutes, maybe an hour and 30.
Hmm.
It's an hour and 17. But I recommend that you put some nice headphones on, or put it on some good speakers that you like, that has decent bass reception. It doesn't need to be like elevated bass, but something where you can hear different tones of bass,
Yeah.
and really kind of sink yourself into it, because it is special. So we'll talk about that next month, but I'm very excited. I'm very excited to hear more from him. And he actually put out a remix to this song. So this was a single. He put out, somebody remixed it, and then he also put out a synthapella version, which is interesting, an
Interesting.
interesting word. And yeah, his music just kind of speaks to me. The way it progressive, the way it builds. It's like classical techno. And I could hear this kind of like Jeff Mills playing the bells with an orchestra. I can kind of hear this music be played with an orchestra at some point in his career. I wouldn't be surprised if that's
Interesting.
something that he does.
That would be fucking awesome.
Right? I think so too. All right, so I think did I put the whole EP from Sasha on here, or
No,
no? I
just
just
Ted
put this
Offensive.
song. All right, let's just talk about the song then. What did you think?
He is one of few artists that can hold my attention with one song for 10 minutes, you
Yep,
know?
yep.
Yeah, fucking legend. I really enjoyed this. It was great.
Absolute fucking legend.
Hmm.
And there's really not much else you can say. The whole EP is pretty good. I think you should listen to it. All right, so this is weird. So there's a band called Cloud Nothings, which I'm a huge fan of, and I troll my release radar every week about Thursday 9 p.m. Western time, Pacific time rather. And I saw this pop up on my release radar, and I didn't actually listen to this song until last night. Um, and I
Oh
was
boy.
very surprised to discover that this is not the band Cloud Nothings, and it is different. Look, the song's decent. Like it's not like a bad song, but it was
I was wondering
not what
if
I
that
was
was the
expecting.
case. I listened to it and then I like clicked the page and I went to their page and I was like, all right, yeah, this is the band.
It's not the
And then I
band.
re I so my note is like it with a question mark. And then I was just like, I don't really know how to critique something like this.
It's
It
weird,
reminds me of
man.
like a song you'd hear over a compilation of anime clips on YouTube.
It's weird, man, because I thought, I was like, oh, we're getting more Cloud Nothings, because they've released an album this year that's already on my albums of the year list, and I was like, wow, they have more music. Can't wait to listen to this. And we had some albums that took my attention this month, and so I kind of put this on the back burner to listen to it and take some notes. And yeah, it was weird. It was funny because I was sitting there, I bought new earpods, earphones rather,
Mhm.
and I was listening to it last night. And I was sitting there, and uh, as I was writing my notes, and then this song comes on. It's a bunch of fucking piano, and I'm thinking to myself, I thought Cloud Nothings was next, and so I look at my phone, and I was like, it says this is not Cloud Nothings. And so you look at you search for the band, and you get the band, and not this guy, but you click on this guy or this group or whatever. It's fucking weird, but okay.
Yep. Spotify has that issue with a few artists. I've seen it happen. I thought this was
I
hilarious.
thought it was hilarious too, but I think it's more funny that, I mean, clearly I follow Cloud Nothings, so they put Cloud Nothings on my on my release radar, but I don't follow this Cloud Nothings. So, well, whatever, I guess. Fucking whatever. All right, classic, classic, classic. Thank you for coming back, Duck Sauce, with Nonchalant. I'm not nonchalant about this release.
Big fan?
Oh man, love Duck Sauce, dude. Barbara Streisand, A-Track, Armin van Helden, they just kill it. I dig their music. After seeing them live, Fuck, when was that? Was that 2011? They had a giant duck on the stage with them, a giant
Yeah.
inflatable light up duck. Fucking amazing, man. And it's just, it's funny because it's great house music. It's not good listening music. I think Duck Sauce translates best live.
Yeah, I agree with that. 2021 has not been the like return to normal I think people hoped it would be, but we got Swedish House and we got Duck Sauce back. So that's something. The accordion in this song, did that remind you of Edward Maya kind of?
Maybe a little, but no, I did. It didn't click right as I was listening to it. I don't know, man. I expect some weirdness from Duck Sauce, which is kind of why we all listen to them, right?
Yes, I agree.
Uh,
Props to Duck Sauce. Hopefully we get more soon.
I will say I listen to a lot of, well, and I used to. I actually haven't in basically all this year. Listened to a lot of BBC Radio One essential mixes, and
Yeah.
Duck Sauce's mix. I think it's 2009, 2010, one of those. They do an essential mix for the BBC, and my man, it is probably still to this day one of the most entertaining essential mixes. I'll throw that link in the show notes. Like their live shows, they'll randomly stop the music just to have some quacking go on, and then they'll just keep on with the beat. And God, it's a lot of fun. So I'll throw that in the show notes. And if you hadn't heard it, please listen.
Definitely.
Um, all right, moving on to it's fun. I love how we genre hop here because we go from like really funny, kind of weird house music to actual death metal.
Hmm.
Going on to Carcass, Dance of Ixtab. Psycho
Yes.
Comp and Circumstance March number 1 sounds like a classical composition. Man, these guys still got it, man. Heavy as fucking hell.
I couldn't get into this one,
Really?
man. I thought like I wanted to like it. Parts of it reminded me of like early Haste the Day, but
Okay.
his vocal style just didn't do it for me. Wasn't like the right type of heavy for me, I guess.
Fair. No, that's fair. I kind of hold. So they put out an album in '93 called Heartwork, and it was along with At the Gates, one of the first melodic death metal albums. Yeah, I they've always just held a special place in my heart, and I listened to this song a couple of times and I really enjoy it. It's a continuation from their last single called Kelly's Meat Emporium, which is why you can see this weird looking heart made out of vegetables and some other meat as the album cover. But
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. I did enjoy it. I like Carcass. They
Yeah.
get heavy. It
We'll see
reminds
if
me
they
of,
win me over.
it's really funny because I don't know if you remember in Friends, somebody's talking to Phoebe about a wedding, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we booked Carcass," and she goes, "Oh, with a C or a K?" And that always gets me because there is a Carcass with a Karcass,
Oh my God.
and I don't like them, but I really like this one. And somebody says with a C, and she goes, "Oh, that's the best one." And,
That's great.
oh man, it's funny. I'll try
I
to
love.
I'll try to find a video of that to throw in the notes.
Hell yeah.
And then genre hopping again. Let's hit Future Islands Peach.
Hmm.
I, I I think this is a great song. I know you're not a big Future Islands fan though, right? You didn't like that album that I had thrown on, I think, earlier in the year.
Yes, I am not.
Okay. We could
Um,
leave it at
I
that if
don't.
you want.
No, it's just it's like, and I know you're not like ashamed of anything, but it's like 80s alternative dad rock, kind of.
Yeah, man.
Like that's
That's kind
if
of the
you like
point.
that, you like it. But yeah, it's just not my thing.
Oh man. Okay, fair. Hey,
Embrace it
fair.
though. That's
I
why I
do.
love you, Brandon, because you
There's no
embrace
shame
it.
in my game, homie. All right. Ed Sheeran's Bad Habits. This was odd.
Did this surprise you that I added it?
It surprised me that the song is what it is, but yes, it also surprised me that you added it.
You go first.
This is just a little different for Ed. Not bad.
Yeah.
I'm not a
Oh, so
huge,
not what you were expecting from an Ed Sheeran song?
definitely. Although I'm not a huge Ed Sheeran fan. I've heard the radio and I've heard that
Yes.
he is a dude.
You have been in
But
a Walgreens before.
I've
You've
definitely
heard.
been in a Walgreens before. I prefer a CVS, but
Yeah.
so yeah, it's a little different. It's not bad.
Yeah, so it's kind of like my guilty pleasure out of the month, I suppose. This song came out like 2 months ago. And of course, I did not add it because it's Ed Sheeran, but like, I'd totally be lying if I said I really didn't like it. I don't know. It's catchy. I usually try and hide these things, but Brandon's face is a judgment-free zone. So much like your 80s alternative dad rock, I'll own up to liking this.
Fair.
Um,
Is
for the
that why
most
you
part,
added it?
no, no, not at all.
Okay.
No, no. But for the most part, I just really do like pop music when it's done well. I'm sure there's a reason for that because, like we said earlier, behind every pop star is this team of people that study what people are into and what keeps them coming back. And it's probably all some weird fucking Josie and the Pussycats, like big machine type of thing going on.
Yeah, I
But
mean, life pro tip: you want to make it big in the music industry right now. Put a couple millennial whoops in your song. You'll hit
yep, do
number
the
one, homie.
millennial whoops. Uh, but like I accept that I'm going to like a shitty pop song every once in a while because that's just inevitable with life. I think what really makes the song catchy is obviously just the beat. Without the dance kick, it doesn't really work the same, but that adds like a level of fun to it that I at least enjoy to listen to in passing. I feel
Yeah,
like his voice has been flattened in the recording of the song. Like almost all of the human inflection in it is gone from what he normally does. It's like a more generic pop version of his voice. But you still get a little bit of his like falsetto and his ability to keep the rhythm is obviously like what makes the song flip. But I don't know. It's going to be like Take My Breath. We're all going to hear this song on the radio until we want to blow our brains out, but I'm just enjoying it now.
yeah. It's again, it's not bad. It's not something I expect. You know, it's funny. We watched the movie yesterday. Have you seen this?
Mm-mm.
Okay, it's a great movie. I really enjoyed it. It's the movie about the guy who wakes up one day and the Beatles never existed, but he remembers all their songs. Ed Sheeran is in this movie a number of times, and I think of some of the scenes. He's a great sport in that movie. I recommend it. Go watch it. It's a good one. I'll throw the trailer in the show notes.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's in this movie. He has kind of a big role. It's not huge, but he's in the movie for probably 20 30 minutes. So
Oh, interesting.
yeah.
Okay. Well, he did announce a new album and released a new song that sucked shit, so I didn't add it. Who knows? Maybe we'll review the album, maybe we won't, but he gave us an easy, good pop song that we're probably going to have to hear for the next 3 years.
Yeah,
So,
this is good. Again, it's not bad. It's not something I expect from a Sheer. I expect an acoustic guitar and some
yeah,
vocals,
same.
but this is not
Same.
it. This is not it. All right, catchy as fuck. Dev Never, Jim E. Stack, Sweet and Spice. This is catchy, man.
Yes.
Thanks for adding this. I've never heard of either of these people.
You say you just don't remember. We've actually reviewed, I think, 4 songs of hers so far this
Oh,
year. It's
maybe I don't
sporadically.
remember.
She did a song like in January, maybe one in March. She's done, I think, Someone
Yep.
Else,
No, you're right.
Sorry,
It's
Disassociate, and now this.
Disassociate. I remember that one. That was my favorite of the ones. Yep.
Yes.
Nope. I do remember. This is catchy as
This
fuck, man.
this one might actually be my favorite of all of them. This is a really good song, like you said, catchy, got a really good vibe to it. She did announce an 8 song EP coming out September 10th called Where Have All the Flowers Gone? We've heard half of it at this point, and it's all pretty good. I'm looking forward to it. We'll definitely throw that on the playlist when it drops.
Yeah, please do. This was good. This was good. All right, another band you don't like, Idols, did a Metallica cover of "The God That Failed." I I don't like Metallica and I don't like this song and I don't like the cover, but what I really love and I really wanted to point out is that Idols, when they take something and they do something, it is very them. They took this song and made it an Idols song, which is something I fucking loved. They didn't try to just cover the song. They took the song and made something out of it that is almost unrecognizable if it weren't for the lyrics and a couple of the main notes of the song.
Mhm.
What did you think of the cover?
I thought that I think that this is good. I think it was a kind of a better entry point for me to get into Idols. Like hearing them cover a song that I know, like helps. This is the Metallica cover, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hearing them cover a song that I know definitely helped me like go, all right, now I can just focus on them and what they're doing and what makes them unique. And while this didn't really make me a diehard fan instantly, I'm starting to see where you're coming from a little bit. They're talented and have like a really unique energy that's hard to define, but it's very present.
Yes, that's exactly it, and I'm glad that you saw this because it was kind of their style that I wanted to point out to you, and it's very much this, right? It's this energy, this kind of the way that Joe sings with his fucking whole entire soul.
Mhm.
I'm glad you enjoyed the cover more than I thought you were gonna.
Yeah, I liked it more than I thought I was gonna too.
Moving on to something that I didn't really like, Caribou. I threw this on here because I'm a big Caribou fan. This is kind of annoying. It turns kind of trippy towards the end, which is classic
Mhm.
Caribou, but it's not my favorite Caribou track.
Yeah, this one was kind of trash.
Almost like a
I just found
throwaway,
the
right?
"You
Like,
Can Do It" samples so annoying, and
yeah.
like the song's not interesting enough to like hold my attention through that. And I know they're capable of a lot better than
Oh,
this.
hell yeah.
Uh, like when Suddenly from last year was a great album. So
Fucking wow,
like
man. That
Never Come
album
Back,
spoke to me.
probably my favorite Caribou song. It's just yeah, this felt like it should have been a deep album cut at best, not a single.
Yeah, a little weird, but all right, we'll see. All right,
Yes.
you've been chomping at the bit. You've been wanting to talk about it. Here it is. Baby Keem, Family Ties featuring Kendrick Lamar. Take it away, Johnny.
Oh my motherfucking God. Okay, so I've listened to this song probably about 15 to 20 times already, and every time I get to the end of it, I forget what the beginning of it sounded like. Because only Kendrick can lay waste to a track in a minute and a half so thoroughly that you're only thinking about what he said afterwards. I'm not a really big fan of Keem's rap style, but like the more I listen to this song, the more it grows on me. I think the first 16 bars are trash. I think the rest of the verse ranges from mediocre to okay, but I think by the time he's trading bars with Kendrick at the end of the song, he's actually in a way holding his own in a way you don't really realize at first. I'm a huge fan of Kendrick trading bars in a verse. He did it on Wow Freestyle with J Rock, and that's one of my favorite Kendrick verses. It should be noted that Baby Keem is the cousin of Kendrick Lamar, which might clear up why Kendrick chose to come back on a song like this, which isn't technically his. It
Nepotism.
also probably clears up why the song is called Family Ties and why the teaser artwork had a really similar aesthetic to Good Kid, Mad City. Onto the actual verse. This verse is probably going to take as long to process and break down as the entire Between the Buried and Me album. uh, but since it's only been out for about 48 hours, I'll just give you my initial takeaways on it. First, Kendrick Lamar is still the best rapper in the game and will be until he decides he's done, which might not be for decades to come, or it might be tomorrow. We have no fucking idea. He was nice enough to give other artists a few years to try and make themselves relevant, but now that he's back, there's really nothing anybody can do other than sit back. Because the level of greatness that he brings is maybe you're lucky if this happens in your lifetime. It's rarer than once in a lifetime that you get somebody like this. Drake and Kanye are in this stupid beef that I do not give a shit about, and they're allegedly going to drop on the same day. And I'm sure that's going to be big in the news when it happens. But literally, once Kendrick drops, none of this will matter.
Nope.
A few, he's going to get album of the year across every publication, no matter what, if it comes out this calendar year, guaranteed. And I think a few lines that stood out to me and really showed what he was aiming for on this song. The line I'm seeing repeated in the media a lot already: I'm not a trending topic, I'm a prophet. That is hard as fuck, and he's one of very few people who can pull off saying that. 2021, I ain't taking no prisoner. Last year, y'all fucked up all the listener who went platinum. I called that a visitor. I think the 2021 part gives us hope that the album is dropping this year. I don't know what platinum artist he's talking about. Could be Roddy Ricch, DaBaby, Drake, who the fuck knows, but I would not want to be the person that he is talking about. Um uh Smoking on top fives, motherfuck that album, fuck that single, burn that hard drive. This line, another hard as fuck, can be interpreted to be about a lot of different people. I think it just applies to everyone in his way right now, whether that be Kanye or Drake. The burn that hard drive line is so good. And the last line of his I really like when he's trading bars with Keem at the end. One daughter, but they all my sons in this bitch. Uh, he literally just put the entire rap game in place in a
Yep.
minute and a half, and I'm still. I know I just said a lot, but I really am speechless still.
Yeah, no, and it goes to show that nobody's talking about Baby Keem's verse because I mean, honestly, it's all about Kendrick, and Kendrick knew this and wanted to probably make his cousin some money,
Hmm.
which is great for him. You know, it's nepotism, but what are you gonna do? Um,
Yes.
it's I didn't really like Baby Keem that much. His voice kind of didn't do it for me, but Kendrick fucking killed it. I too am very excited to see what he does, and we'll see. It's gonna be special for sure.
Hmm.
Like you said, I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of Kendrick telling me to burn that hard drive. So
Yeah. I think that's at Kanye since he's been holed up in these stadiums with all these hard drives working on all this album, but I don't know, man. I It's so good, man. That
yeah,
line is
it's
fucking
good, and it's funny because as soon as Kendrick's verse or like right before Kendrick's verse comes on, it's like a separate song. It's like Baby Keem had his song, Kendrick had his song.
yeah.
It's all just released together to like in one track, and I'm not mad at that. It just it's great.
Yeah.
Let's hope for more Kanye, or I'm sorry
Yes.
for Kendrick.
For Kendrick,
Yeah,
yes.
let's hope for more Kendrick. All right. Moving on for a song that I listened to probably 11, maybe 12 times in the past 24 hours. Joywave, Every Window is a Mirror, a remix by the legendary Eiffel 65. What the fuck, John?
I'm blue. I am blue,
Like,
man.
I'm shook, man. Like, what the fuck? This is so good. It's out of control good. Please, please, can we get more new Eiffel 65 in 2021? They haven't released original music in a while. I looked at it. They've had some remixes and stuff like that, but no really original music in a long time. So this this is good. This is
Yeah,
good.
this is great. Great. I had the same thing. More Eiffel 65 remixes this year, please. They
Please.
completely breathed life into this song that we kind of probably forgotten about by this point.
I didn't. I'm a big fan of Joywave, but I understand because yeah, I mean they just
Is that EP on your albums of the year?
it is not.
It's just you like the song a lot or you like the band a lot?
I like the band a lot, and
Gotcha.
I don't
Okay.
consider that EP to be a an album, so I don't think I'm going to throw that on my albums of the year list. It is fun. I have
Fair.
listened to it since it's released, so
Fair. Fair.
yeah. But yeah, this song is criminally short at 2 minutes and 17 seconds. So please give us more.
Yeah, that was brutal.
All right, Belly, The Weekend, and Nas, Die for It. This is all right.
Yeah. Weekend is arguably the biggest star we have in the world right now and gets bigger with every release. Like beyond the vocal similarities to him and Michael Jackson in terms of like he really is our generation's Jackson in terms of talent.
He is currently
However,
Spotify's number two in the world.
however, he does not have a great ear for talent. His record label featuring Belly and Nav is awful. All the releases are trash. Um, Belly does an okay job on this song, but it's not memorable at all. The hook the weekend does feels like something that could have been posthumous. Like
Yeah.
it's just the same thing repeated. Nas is fantastic as always. The part where the drums come in during his verse is easily the best part of the song,
Yep.
but does nothing to save it. Hard pass.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Um, Moving on, we've got a Neil Francis. Everybody knows I'm a
Hmm.
Neil Francis stan.
Yes,
These
he
guys are
is.
so fucking good, man. I love this song.
Yeah.
You liked it. I know you liked
Yeah.
it. How could you not? It's great music.
So when I was playing this song yesterday and doing my notes, I was like doing some stuff around the house while listening. And I thought you like put a fucking 80s Madonna song on here or something when it had first started, like when the instrumental kicked in. It's a really fun song, and I'm starting to hear them as like their own group versus what I used to tell you as another Sounds Like Tame Impala group.
Yep, nope,
Um,
they are
they've
different.
yeah, they dropped an EP this year. Do you think they're gonna do another album rollout, or is this just a one-off?
You know, man, I don't know. It's hard to tell with these guys. They kind of go back and forth with let's release 8 singles in a row and then an EP and then 8 singles and then so we'll
Yeah,
see. I'd love for this to be an album, as something along those lines. It seems to have its own original single artwork, so I don't think that it is, but I'm here for that. Please do that.
totally.
Um, Off of the what looks like an album, Pyrex Picasso. We've got a Benny the Butcher and Conway the Machine song, "Fly with Me."
Yes.
This is so good. There's a ton of
Yeah.
knowledge in being broke, homie.
Yeah, this is another classic.
Yeah.
I didn't add this whole album. I think it just hit streaming, but I think the album was like recorded a few years ago and just
Oh,
finally
really?
came out. This is the best song on it to me. I love the chopped up soul, both of
It's
them
great.
doing their thing. It's great. Love it.
Yeah, love it. Speaking of another song I really love, Plastic Ruby put out a new song, Poison. I've actually heard this song live before. I think the lead singer used to sing this with another one of his bands or something like that. I think it's his song.
Hmm.
This band is criminally underrated. People, please go listen to Plastic Ruby. They've gained 2 monthly listeners since we last talked about them, from 37 to 39. Please listen to them more. They're
Yeah.
fantastic. This song, they need to be famous. Let's get them out
Yep.
of this desert. Let's get them out to the big cities.
Let's get them there. Yeah.
Let's
Great
get let's
song.
get them to the Greek.
Yeah. They've been consistently putting out really good music all year or over the past few years. Hopefully they catch on.
Yeah, I'm rooting for them. They deserve it. So, um, and then we've got another single from Black Marble, depressing and uplifting at the same time. Really interesting little single. What did you think of Ceiling?
I felt like by this point, like I'm just getting a little burnt out on so much new music being inspired by the 80s. And I get that like Black Marble is an 80s synth pop heavy group.
Right.
It's just a tough time to have that sound because you're a fish in the ocean at this in this exact moment. So
Fair.
many other artists are doing it. Thought it was okay, but not really my thing.
I think Black Marble does it pretty well. So we'll see what happens. And then I threw Japanese Breakfast Glider. It's from Sable, original video game or something along those lines. This is
Hmm.
a cute little indie song. I just thought it was good.
Yeah, it's short, repetitive, but it's a good song. I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah, me too. So I think that wraps up the singles for this
It
month.
doth.
It doth, huh? Yeah. We had a lot of albums released this month, and a lot of albums from some fucking legends.
Yeah,
And
big heavy
I'm
hitters.
very, very, very excited to get into them. The first album that you threw on this list was Durand Jones and the Indications, an
Hmm.
album called Private Space. And look, man, it is really incredible to me that this album was released in 2021. I listened to the whole thing and I was like, wow, this is a great 70s disco album. Like, what the hell? It's really well produced, though. Let me check on it. 2021. It came out this month. What the
Yes.
hell? Like we talked about last month, man, disco and funk are just back. They're just back. They're here. Just like emo.
Mhm.
It's emo and funk and disco, and fuck, am I here for it? I'm very cool with this. The funky, soulful music is it's really great, man. Reminiscent of old music. It's still fresh. I will definitely be following this band. This was a lot of fun to listen to. I gave it a 7. Standout for me was With You.
Ooh, okay, okay. So I found this group last year sometime when I stumbled across their track Cruising in the Park, which I recommend you throw on your listen to next. Fantastic song. And I really loved the vibe of it. I love that they're like they have that timeless jazz band sound. It's the
Yep.
perfect fusion of funk and soul, reminiscent of other modern groups like the Internet or Free Nationals. This is a very solid album front to back. Definitely a good one to throw on any time of day. I want to see them do some more collabs. Raphael Sadiq, who does music very much in this vein and commits to this era, would fucking kill with this. I think they're good enough to stand on their own, but I'd like to see them open up like creatively more in a collaborative situation, maybe for exposure, if nothing else. And you and I were the exact same. We both scored it a 7 out of 10, and which you was both of our favorite songs.
That's amazing. We didn't talk about this at all this month,
Nope.
and this was put on the 1st of August. I specifically
Yeah.
didn't want to talk to you about this outside of the podcast because I wanted to hear organic thoughts. That's really fucking amazing. Can we bring like roller discos back, please?
Yes,
There
please.
was there was one. We lived in Murrieta, California, and there was a roller rink there that was a lot of fun. It was great to go. I fell on my ass a bunch of times, but it was a lot of fun. They have like adult nights and shit like that. They need to bring those back. There needs to be one in every area. Conglomeration of towns so people can go enjoy some wholesome shit without looking at phones.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm a wall hugger at the skating ring, but I enjoy the vibes. I
well,
like the arcade games as well.
Wall hugger
So,
sounds like something out of Resident Evil, but or Dead Space. But we'll go we'll leave that alone. All right, I threw this next. He calls it an EP. I think it's an album based on how incredible it is. We've got Spores
mhm.
Anachronic. He
Anachronic.
released this in 2020, and I somehow missed it. Spore is the alter ego of, alter moniker of John Gooch, who is also Feed Me. And when I heard that Feed Me was going to be releasing some music this month, I decided to just check on Spore and found this EP that I never really listened to, and decided let's fucking go. So it's like proggy drum and bass, man, which is really fucking cool. And Rixa starts it off kind of slow and then transitions really smoothly into Beam Cannon. Anachronic is really good. Your Mind is Like Water is straight out of like Tibet or something, like Nepal or
Hmm.
some shit. Like, come on, man. Cohesion almost sounds generic compared to all of the other tracks, and
Yeah.
that's saying something because it's a really good track. And Until that second drop, and then it just kind of hits you. I fucking loved this. Get hyped for Feed Me is what I wrote down. 9 out of 10. I call my standout was Beam Cannon. What did you think of this?
I love that he still puts as much time into Spore as he does into Feed Me. I think it's a
Same.
very solid drum and bass album. I don't listen to a lot of drum and bass, so I wouldn't really consider myself like an authority on what's good, but I enjoyed this quite a bit. I gave it a 7 out of 10. My favorite track was Count My Blessings.
Cool. All right. I like that. The next album that we did that I threw on here was Ty Segall. He put
Mhm.
out a shock drop album. There were no singles up to this point called Harmonizer. So Ty Segall was my 2020 top artist listened to of the year last year. He was in
Oh, wow.
2020. I discovered who Ty Segall was, and I just couldn't get enough. Give me all of the psych rock, please. Give it all to me. Um, so I'm a big fan of his 2014 release, Manipulator, and generally most of his music. There's a couple of his albums that just really just don't hit with me, but yeah, I just really like artists who can put out so much music and still have a lot of it be quality music, you know. So by the time I sat down and wrote my review, I'd listened to it like 4 or 5 times. I texted you immediately after I finished the first round, and I was like, "Fuck, shit rips." It's a bit slower actually than most of his other music, but it's also a little bit more synthy, which I really like. We've got great, fantastic riffs. We've got overall musicality is just fucking on point. There's guitar solos, there's synths again, the filtered vocals. They all kind of come together to make this really cool, really I think important psych rock record, man. Harmonizer, Whisper, Waxman, all incredible. The synths on the song "Ride" are haunting, man. Just haunting. The way it kind of rolls into the filthy garage of Waxman is really cool.
Mhm.
The piano combined with guitar filters, absolutely just fucking epic. So, and I'm sure you noticed on Feel Good, you've got Danae Segal, which is apparently his wife.
I'd
Um,
assumed,
if you
yeah.
couldn't tell by the last name, uh, can you imagine for a second that some people in this world say rock is dead? That there's no rock coming out nowadays. And this motherfucker just puts out this music, man. We've got great bands putting out great rock and roll. I gave this a 9 out of 10. This ended up on my albums of the year list, contenders list rather. I couldn't decide which I liked better, Waxman or Play. What are your thoughts on Ty Segall,
Interesting.
sir?
So I wasn't very familiar with him. I had seen a few reviews of this album popping up when you had added it. So I was like, oh, okay, like this seems to be a release that's catching some traction in publications as well. So I was excited to dive in. I'm glad I did. It's groovy, it's fucking grimy, it's heavy without being like too heavy for the sound he's going for. Kind of reminded me of like Black Keys a little bit at times. I think the album is really anchored by Whisper and the title track Harmonizer
Okay.
in terms of like what he can do with that sound when it's operating on all cylinders. Overall, I thought it was really good. I gave it a 7 out of 10. My favorite track was Whisper on it.
I love Whisper. Whisper, it was, so I was getting on to my second listen to this album, and then Whisper
Mhm.
comes on, and I was like, I got to text him. I got to make sure he listens to this album accordingly. So,
Oh, that's when you hit
yeah,
me
that's
up
when I hit
about
you.
it.
I was
Yeah.
like, man, Whisper's so good. Cool, man. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's a little different, but
Mhm.
it's fantastic. It's good.
Yes.
I would one day like to really see this guy live. And I discovered him last year, and I just couldn't get enough. It's funny when you discover an artist that you've never heard of before, and then you start listening to him, and God, man, again, my most listened to artist last year was Ty Segall, and that says something. I listen to a lot of fucking music,
That's
so
crazy. Yeah.
it's crazy. All right, so redo EP number 5. We should have fucking known it was a redo EP, man.
Should
We
have.
talked about it. We talked about it. We were
Hmm.
like, eh, what is this? Is this not? We should have fucking known, man.
Yep.
All right,
We should have.
it's so obvious now. I think the only new track we got out of this was Disco 5. Out
Yes.
of the ones that we hadn't heard. Um, I still added the whole thing just because it needed to be, there as a whole thing. Um,
Of course.
Solid EP. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It's not my favorite redo. It's not my favorite Cascade, but it's Cascade. He's the fucking master. So,
Yeah.
I am so sad. We saw Cascade in 2015 at Coachella. His main stage performance. There's the drone footage that I'll throw in the show notes for people to see. At that point in time, it was pre Beyonce performing, and it was the
Biggest
largest
crowd.
crowd of Coachella history. And I am so fucking salty, man, because apparently the crowd got rowdy towards the front of the rails of his show. He was supposedly going to be the secret surprise set at the Do Lab that night, and it was going to be a redo set, which
They had to
I've
cancel it.
never
Yeah.
had a chance to do. And they canceled it, man. I'm still salty about that shit.
So sad. That sucked.
Yeah, it is what it is.
What did you rate it?
I rated it an 8 out of 10. I think my standout was Hypnotized.
Um, Interesting. Okay. So I miss like Cascade's peak album run, but his last few EPs have been great. My favorite track since what I would consider his peak was Love Like That, which dropped as a single a year or two ago before
Yep.
ending up on Redo 4. Every song on this release is solid, but none of the tracks quite top that one for me. It's still good to see him releasing high quality house music, and he still seems to be capable of delivering classics for sure.
Yep. Absolutely. What did you rate
Uh,
yours?
I rated this a 7 out of 10, and my favorite of the group was New James Dean.
All right. I really like that one too. It was between Hypnotized and New James Team for me.
Yeah,
Not to
for
be
sure.
confused with Tin Liquor's Hypnotized from earlier this month. Um, all right, so another album that hit my albums of the year list, King's Disease 2 from Nas.
Yes.
Uh, I mean, do you want to start? Do you want me to start?
Um, um, I'll start, sure.
Let's do it.
I think Nas and Hit Boy might be the best rapper producer pairing in music right now. He's still at the top of his game 25 years later, and it might be getting better. I didn't really know what to expect from King's Disease, a follow-up to it this soon because the last one dropped last year. This seemed very fast to follow it up, but never doubt him, I guess. He might be getting another Grammy for Hip Hop Album of the Year with this one. Hit Boy's production seems to have really refreshed him and like brought him the best out of him again. He's skating effortlessly on this album, delivering some of the best rhymes of his career. If not for a few skips, this one would be an easy 10 for me. I'm not a fan of the track with Eminem. Eminem has gone like downhill lyrically so bad in the past decade that I can't even take him seriously anymore. The song with Boogie and YG feels kind of trend chasey, but those guys bring in big streaming numbers and knows how to play the game, so I'm not going to really knock him for that.
Right.
There's a few debatable skips on me on here. I don't need to hear him rapping about brunch, but I think the most, uh, I think for the most part, this album is fire front to back, and holy fucking shit, we got a Nas and Lauryn Hill collab in 2021,
I
and
know.
she delivers my favorite line of maybe the album, which is my awareness like Keanu in the Matrix. I'm saving souls, and you're all complaining about my lateness. Um, I gave this one a 9 out of 10. My favorite song was Rare.
All right. Yeah, that's kind of right where I'm at. Nas is one of the greatest lyricists of our time, I think, man. Everybody at me, I don't care. It he has this way of writing music that just fucking gets me. He's always had a very specific way with words. Death Row East must have actually been really personal for him to record. That it sounds like it was tough to write. The way he twists and kind of turns through that song is really just really neat. I love how he can take the more contemporary beats, like on 40 side, and kind of mix them with those Queensbridge lyrics and kind of make them, reminiscent of like Illmatic and shit like that, because it's cool to hear contemporary trap beats with a Nas flow on it and actually hear something that is what rap should be.
Yeah.
Eminem's verse is fucking garbage, man. Like
Hmm.
I was excited. I was like, wow, yeah, okay, let's hear this, and then it just didn't fucking do it for me. So okay, uh, that Lauryn Hill feature is fucking awesome.
Yes.
That saxophone, just beautiful.
Oh,
Perfect transition into No Phony Love. Overall, just a fantastic album. It's immediately a contender for Rap Album of the Year. I also gave it a 9, and I also liked Rare the most.
oh, interesting.
Isn't that
Okay,
crazy?
man. Yeah, we're synced up this month, man.
Apparently, except for Future Islands. All right, moving on. We have, you know what? I don't want to move on real quick. I just don't. Nas fucking killed it, man. Do you think I think if Kendrick releases an album this year, it's gonna be Nas and Kendrick going at it for Rap Album of the Year. I think you're right though. You said Kendrick is probably gonna win like Album of the Year overall. Do you think they would give Kendrick a double Grammy, one for Rap Album of the Year and then one for Album of the Year? Or do you think that they might
Mm,
consider Nas as something like that? Because,
I think they
fuck,
would
man, this is
consider
great.
Nas for
This
Rap
is great.
Album of the Year and Kendrick for Album of the Year, depending on when it's released and just how it sounds. Honestly, it could have more of like a pop landscape. I mean, I know that's not predictable for Kendrick, but like I don't know what to expect with him right now, and I don't know when the cutoff dates are for certain awards. So that's where it gets a little dicey and confusing. But I I think, oh man, this is like tied with Tyler for me
It's
right now in
great.
terms of Rap
It's
Album
great.
of the Year. They're both great. The only difference is I don't think Tyler has any skips for me. This one has a couple.
It's maybe a couple, but I actually like this one as a whole. Oh no, the Tyler album's really good, man. Yeah, they're kind of tied.
They're,
Um,
they're the only
it's
two fighting it out. Vince a close third.
I don't think Vince's is long enough to really contend here.
No.
I think we got more content out of both Nas and Tyler, and I think we have to take that into consideration. Even though short and sweet is good too. I don't know. I really like this album, and I was so excited to hear more Nas. And Illmatic is one of my favorite hip hop albums of all time, like no doubt. So
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
we will.
All right. Moving on, let's talk about one of our most anticipated releases of the month. We've got Jungle, Loving in Stereo. I'm just going to go ahead and jump in, John. There isn't a skip on this fucking album. No skips. It's perfect contemporary disco. It's fun. It's serious. They don't take themselves too seriously at the same time. Romeo is fucking awesome. Boz's feature is really good. Keep Moving is so much fucking disco. Fire is a classic. It's Talk About It sounds like a Portugal the Man disco song some fucking how. If Portugal the Man and Justice came together somehow, I don't fucking know. 9 out of 10, man. I really like Talk About It. That's my favorite one. I actually even heard some Cascade influences in this album. Overall, I was super fucking impressed. This also made it on my albums of the year contender list.
Same. It made it on mine. I don't think any artist this year took me by surprise quite like they did. I know they released a few albums prior to this, but this album rollout's like my first real experience with like their music.
Same.
I'm definitely a fan now, and I look forward to this album being in my rotation for a long time to come. Beyond just making fantastic songs, they really know how to construct a complete album, and that seems to be an increasingly rare thing in the current age of dance music. Definitely a group I want to see live at some point. They really put a lot of time and attention into how they present their music, and I appreciate that effort. They make sure every song is telling its own story while still serving like the cohesive vision and aesthetic for the album. Every single was so different but very compelling in their own way. I believe they did a video for every song on the album to even further get their vision across for
Wow.
each story.
Impressive.
These guys can already stand alongside a lot of other iconic DJ duos with their resume, and they seem far from finished. So let's enjoy this while it lasts. For sure.
I'm gonna bask in this. I've listened to this album like 10 times, man. This is one of those albums that got me distracted from listening to some of the singles we were adding on, because I was like, this is more important, you know. And it's just one of those things. The wife and I, we were sitting out enjoying the sun when it was less than 115 out here. It was like 107, and we were so impressed with how nice it was outside that we were sitting outside in the sun. We had this bumping on the fucking on the Bluetooth speaker. Man, it's just perfect. It's summertime music, homie. It's good shit.
Yeah, it's fantastic. They did a great job, and they are fucking opening up for Billie Eilish in the UK for 3 shows. So
God, that's a weird pairing, man. I'm not
it's
sure.
very weird. It's very weird, but it's very good opportunity for them.
Absolutely good for them, but that's really fucking weird. So
Yeah.
I'll allow it. Tell Billy I've okayed it. All right, so moving on, we
boy.
have a cringe fest of an album. The Killers,
wait,
Pressure
hold on,
Machine.
hold
Go
on.
ahead.
I rated the Jungle album an 8 out of 10, and my favorite song was Keep Moving.
All
Sorry.
right, neat. No, you're good. I forgot to ask you. Moving on, we've got a cringe fest. The Killers, Pressure Machine. So I asked you specifically, please listen to this album actively once. Write some notes. I want to talk about it because I listened to this album a handful of times.
Props to you.
It is so it's cringy, but it interested me enough to give it a few listens. Flowers is, I guess, on record simping for Mr. Bruce Springsteen, and I guess that's fine, right? But he's trying so hard to do something that feels so inauthentic for the band that, I mean, the band put out Hot Fuss. This band put out a seminal late 2000s rock record that was beautiful, and to hear this come out of them is really weird. So, all right, this is not a bad album. I don't hate this album. It's cringy, but this album's actually good. It actually got me to go back and listen to Imploding the Mirage, their album from I think last year, maybe the year before. I do enjoy that album. The themes in this album are pretty solid. And the music is solid, as you would kind of expect for a veteran rock band like the Killers. But it is just executed as if they were trying so fucking hard. Maybe that's just because this is coming from the Killers, right?
Hmm.
But it's so much Americana, it's so much folk, and that's not what you expect from the Killers. And if they are going to venture off and do something more like Sam's Town, or what was that album they put out? The one with Sam, it's Sam's Town, right? Yeah, Sam's Town.
I think Sam's down, yeah.
And just if you're gonna go do something like that, make it your own. Don't make it something that you just want to impress Daddy Bruce with. And also, how dare you use my girl Phoebe Bridgers and not let her shine even a little bit, Brandon Flowers? What the fuck, man? Overall, overall, man, I didn't hate this album. I actually like really wanted to like the album more than I did. Maybe it was the line about shotguns and beer cans and pickup trucks all in like one verse that made me go, "What the fuck, Mr. Flowers?" But I mean, I can't say it's bad music because it's not, but I can say it's a bad Killers album, which it definitely is a bad Killers album. I gave it a 5 out of 10. My favorite song is "Quiet Town" off of this. I did listen to it enough to pick a favorite. I just kind of jumped right into it. What are your thoughts?
I didn't like the album. I am not a fan of lyrics about horses and God and being from a small factory town. It's boring to me. I think that there's some good blues rock moments on this album, like West Hills and the end of Cody, but a lot of it is not my thing. I thought In the Car Outside felt like the closest thing to an actual Killers song on the album,
Yeah,
but it almost sounds out of place. I'm not really a fan of interludes, and they put a lot of them
a
in the
lot of
form of
them.
spoken word segments before and after certain songs, but attached to the song so that you can't skip them. I've always joked about how they've been making songs about trying to make it out of Vegas for the past 15 years. And I definitely can't make that joke about this album, but I wish I could because I
At least
feel
those
like
albums are good.
yeah, I feel like another album in that style would have been more my speed than this. I'm also not a big deep cut fan of the Killers though. So like I have a few of their early vinyls. I think we have Sam's Town, and I like to throw those on and I do enjoy them for the most part, but I'm just the guy that wants to fucking sing the hits on the radio pretty much as loud as I can. That's
Fair.
where my enjoyment of the Killers comes from, and these are explorations deep into their sound I don't need to really venture back into. I gave it a 3 out of 10. In the Car Outside was my quote unquote favorite because it's the only song that sounded like them to me.
Well, yeah, I guess I can feel that, and I really didn't like those interludes also. But so this is apparently about Brandon Flowers' town in Utah where he grew up, and I think I chose Quiet Town because of the attention to the opioid crisis that we're dealing with and how they kind of draw attention to that, and that I think is a really important message, and one of the reasons why I said the themes in this album are pretty solid. But it isn't a good Killers album. It really isn't. And it is weird and different and not executed well. And it didn't even really feel that well planned out. And it's really just Bruce Springsteen. Please just tell Brandon Flowers he did a good job and so he can move on with his life. Like, please. Like, I know Bruce Springsteen isn't going to listen to this, but like somebody fucking tweet at him or something.
Somebody tweet at
So,
Bruce.
so Daddy Bruce, let Brandon know he did a decent job of trying to emulate your Americana music, and let's just get on with it. So we're not going to spend any more time on the Killers. We're going to spend some time on a really decent album that I really liked. Quicksand's Distant Populations. I'm a big fan of Quicksand, and I was really kind of chomping at the bit for this album. What did you think, John?
So, it's crazy to see bands who played the first ever Warp Tour still like going strong and more or less not like missing a step.
Right.
It's even more impressive that they don't sound like they've lost a step because This particular album comes after a 3-year hiatus, and these types of like alt metal, post hardcore sounds aren't easy styles of music to do as you
They're
get
not.
older, especially doing this for 3 decades. They're really special to be able to do that. All of that said, this album is another solid entry in their discography. It didn't blow me away in terms of things I wasn't expecting as much as just them being consistent, but like I think that counts for something. I enjoyed the album front to back, but I feel like it peaks where it begins with Inversion in terms of like, oh, this is awesome. I gave it a 7 out of 10, and Inversion was definitely my favorite song on it. What about you?
Cool, cool. Okay. I really liked it. This album is everything I really wanted out of a Quicksand album, and they didn't really deviate from their formula a lot. Which, I mean, again, like you just said, for such an old band, it's impressive that a band from that released their first album in like '92 or something like that. Like, fuck, dude. Okay, keep going. Let's hear it. Inversion is really the exact perfect way to open up this album. When they released Brushed as a single, we talked about it last month, and I was kind of curious and a little cautious about how it was going to fit into the album. I'm very happy with how it fits, I think, with all things being said. There's elements in this album. There's metal, there's punk, there's hardcore, there's grunge, there's post-hardcore, there's psych. It's really just all together very good. I gave it an 8. My favorite is actually I couldn't decide. It's either Colossus or EMDR are my favorites.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Um,
Oh, I'm
drum
excited for this one.
drum roll, please. Thank
Brrr,
you. Feed
brat,
me
brat.
for
Oh, is that not
releasing.
what you meant?
That was exactly what I meant. Pew, 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 pew. All right. Feed me. Feed me released his self-titled Feed Me album. And I can't wait to get into it, but I do want to hear your thoughts first.
Okay, I'm glad you want to hear my thoughts
I
first.
do.
So this blew me the fuck away.
Yeah.
Feed Me is clicking on all levels. Instead of constantly chasing whatever new trend in EDM is popular, he stayed making his style of electronic music that really only he can do. After he started getting popular, we started seeing so many clones of him and
Right.
people like trying to capture what he was doing, but it was quickly apparent that they weren't special enough to really do it. We start this album off with Big Kitten, a glitchy tapestry of sounds that build into a very intense but short drop, kind of meant to serve as like a grand intro to the album and everything else you're about to hear. And then it drops us into track 2. Blanket Band, which is probably one of my favorites on the album, has all the things I love about a Feed Me song: the grimy bass, the four to the floor bounce, the hypnotic guitar, the almost raw electric guitar, and the perfect mix of like classic and electronic drum sounds. Borders on rock more than EDM at times, which I love that he can
Love
do.
it.
This song is so good, and if you're only going to check out a few songs from this album, please make sure that that's one of them. But the party does not stop there because then it's followed by what I think is probably the strongest single from the album, and that's Reckless
Yep.
featuring Tasha Baxter. Beautiful song, really captures the slow and spacey sound that typically populates a lot of like night drive playlists. This track sounds kind of like his take on a Kavinsky song to me, and I love Kavinsky, so I'm a big fan of that. I don't know if it is, but I like that it reminds me of that.
Right.
Great song. We move on to track 4. Cost a Fiver had a tenor, which kind of serves as a transition out of the first quarter of the album. It's a nice glitchy groove for the first half before almost abruptly transitioning into like a headbanging guitar build that eventually drops into a headbanging finish that pretty much left me floored for a few moments. But there's really no time to be floored because then you move right into Nightboat, which almost let you catch your breath for like the first minute. This one's a little different, a little more funky to start, eventually turning into somewhat of a classic Feed Me album cut track. From there, we move on to If It Bounces, which begins with like a small phone call sample before dropping into one of the more frenetic grooves on the album. This track builds nicely into uh this track builds nicely, but it feels like a transition into like the last part of the album to me. And that begins with the track Stupid Small Face, a perfectly named song that also reminded me of like the Bloody Beetroots kind of in the way that it fused rock and electronic music. Again, another great song. Frank Frazetta is kind of my one skip for the album. If I had to pick one, I don't really skip it, but if I had to pick one, this would be it. I don't know if I will skip it every time. It just kind of feels like him doing his version of the Barbra Streisand thing a little bit, which is fine, but I don't know, just a little derivative to me, I guess.
Okay.
But that didn't really make me like stop, or it really didn't sit with me because he follows it up immediately with another one of the best songs on the album, Stop Motion, featuring vocals by Heights. I don't really have much to say about this song other than it's probably in my top three on the album. And then we go on to Tamp Tamp Tamp, serves as like the kind of last gasp of frenetic electro house goodness before ending with the beautiful crescendo to a wild fucking album with Feather Crown. A great coda to all of it. I have this one at a 9 out of 10. My favorite, I feel like the best song on the album is Reckless, but I feel like my favorite song is Blanket Ban, if that makes sense.
It does. It does make sense.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
That's my review.
I was fucking speechless, man. So by the time I sat down to write my review, I listened to it probably like 10 times. I've been a fan of Feed Me since, and you know, I think I showed you. I think you were one of the first people I showed who Feed Me when I found. I was like, everybody has to hear this music. He released, I heard on a Pandora radio station, Blood Red, and that was off of his album Feed Me's Big Adventure in 2011. I've seen him 7 times, maybe 8 times. Huge fucking fan of this guy. This is classic, chaotic, bass heavy, progressive Feed Me with a fresh look at the sounds we've been accustomed to hearing from him. I love the fucking guitars in Blanket Band. I think they work. I think they really work. Reckless is kind of an odd song comparative to the rest of the album. It's very original though, and it showcases his range and his classical music training. It's soft and heavy at the same time. It's really atmospheric while staying really true to his brand, which I love it. The way Cost of Five or Had a Tenor ends is just fucking amazing, man. That build up crescendo thing that he's got going on, and while he's able to build up and still keep a beat going, then it doesn't sound like a build up is fucking special, man. This is a Night Boat. Surreally enough, kind of is where the album starts to change, and it's funny that you said the same thing because that's really where it starts to really change into this next piece of fucking art. The way he's able to tie chord progressions and bass lines together is just fucking, it's next level, man. If it bounces, will absolutely fucking destroy dance floors. Just
Yes.
I got chills, man. It's just gonna fucking destroy these dance floors. That intro bass line to Stupid Small Face is just out of this fucking world. Just out of this world. Out of control. It's an incredible song. I have no idea who Frank Frazetta is. I actually thought this song was really fun. I didn't think it was that derivative of Barbra Streisand, but maybe it was more of like an homage, like a hey, welcome back, guys. I don't know, but I thought it was fun. Tamp 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 is a song that I really enjoy because it's constantly evolving. It's constantly evolving. It kind of turns from one song to the other song. I think I skipped over Stop Motion. It's just emotional and ethereal and very much Feed Me.
Yes.
Every layer added to all of this album just fits so fucking perfectly. And then I'm gonna mirror exactly what you said. Feather Crown is the perfect closer to this album. It kind of just puts a feather in the cap of this album and just solidifies it as something that's incredible. I pre-ordered the vinyl before I heard it, and I'm so glad that I did because holy shit, man, this is next level. It's next level music, man. That nobody can touch this.
Nope.
I'm gonna reminisce here for a second. The first, no, it wasn't the first time I saw him. The second time I had ever seen him was at Coachella in 2012, and we kind of went in on the side of the stage to kind of get in towards the front. I have never been in a crowd like this. Never have I been in a crowd like this where I had really no control of where I was going in the crowd. The whole crowd was just in unison, just waving up and down, jumping, and there was a mosh pit somewhere in there, and it was just beautiful, man. I've never felt an energy like that at a show before, and it really hooked me on seeing him live, because like holy shit, it really kind of threw me for a loop. And every single one of his live shows has just this an immaculate energy to it, and he can control people's emotions, with songs like Stop Motion, and then throw in Stupid Small Face and just fucking make it bounce. And it's special. It's special, man. It's
It
a good
is.
album. My favorite was Stupid Small Face. I also rated it a 9 out of 10.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, this also hit my albums of the year contenders, and I think it will definitely stay on there when I hit my top 10 because I can't stop listening to it. So,
Agreed.
like, it's just one of those where it's like, fuck, man. And it's funny, dude, because I I always think that I've like, all right, well, maybe I've outgrown me this type of dubstep bassy music. Fuck no, hell no, never
Nope.
ever. This music is fire, just absolutely out of control.
Fantastic.
Um, we move on now to is which one of these is the best album of the month, John?
I will answer that for you shortly.
All right, so Between the Buried and Me put out a continuation of their 2007 album Colors, called Colors 2. Holy shit, man, what an incredible piece of art.
Yes.
By the time I sat down to write this review, I think I had enjoyed this sonic splendors of this album probably 20 or so times. This album was the one that really distracted me from everything else that was happening really in my whole life. Almost like I had this on constantly. So I'm just gonna start off here. First
Go
off,
for it.
the piano opening gives me fucking chills, and I'm so glad that they threw this level of fan service in here because Colors had an opening like this as well. This album is heavy, it's odd, it's pretty, it's incredibly technical. It's like they took all of the styles of metal and did it better than everybody. The way monochrome bleeds perfectly into the double helix of Extinction is just immaculate. This album is not an ode to Colors, nor is it a reimagination. This album is a continuation of a masterpiece that just so happens to be a masterpiece itself. From the melodic chorus on Revolution in Limbo to the jazz bass lines that somehow fit perfectly among the chaotic metal surroundings and fix the error, to the perfectly executed blast beats on Human as Hell. This piece of just blissful music takes the listener on a ride that needs a few listens to fully digest for sure. It's special, it's unforgettable, it's weird in the best possible ways. Between the Buried and Me have the unique ability to not only keep my attention but really interest me for what, 11, 12, 13, 15 minute songs for fucking an hour and 20, 30 minute album. Like, it's so good, man. The twists, the turns, the surprise, progressive tie-ins upon coming to the end of each song, and the fusion of a spectacular variety of sounds, influences, and genres makes this album absolutely incredible. It was like a good book that I couldn't put down. I gave it a 10 out of 10, man. I can't find any part of this album that I didn't like. I think my favorite song is Revolution in Limbo. Let's hear your thoughts.
All right, so if you don't mind, I kind of did it from a track by track perspective, like
Please.
I did with Feed Me, so I
Please.
might retread over some stuff. But
Let's go.
all right. First of all, this album is fucking amazing. I've maybe listened to it in its entirety about 5 times. It's pretty long and it hasn't been out for long, so
Right.
I'm still wrapping my head around it a little bit. A lot of bands do spiritual sequels to albums, but few are ever able to recapture the magic they had on whatever piece of work that it is that they're trying to honor or follow up. This truly feels like a sequel to Colors, thematically and musically. I'm just in awe at how they pulled this off. They started off, like you said, exactly like Colors One, almost with monochrome. You get the pianos, the clean vocals. It makes you think of Foamborn, but not in a derivative way, just in setting the tone. And after all that building up, they bring the metal right before the end of the song, like they typically do with these intros, and drop you right into the double helix of Extinction, which of course will instantly remind you of Decade of Statues if you're like kind of already in that groove of listening with the album. They really started this album off on a nostalgic note, but I think after that we go off the rails in the best possible way. Um, that there's this amazingly theatrical element to Revolution and Limbo that's a song that hit theatrical levels I really wasn't expecting, even for them. Loved the seamless transition into Fix the Error. Beautiful, kept me so immersed with you know me, I'm a sucker for seamless transitions on an album, so that was huge
Aren't
to
we
me.
all?
Fix the Error is a masterpiece. Probably as close to musical perfection as we're ever going to get. They always remind you that they're great at prog metal, but when they decide to remind you at how good they are at just as being as technical as possible with an instrument, um, they can they can fit everything into a song, and it just it's insane the way they're able to do it. They're really operating in like a realm occupied by gods right now. Never Seen and Future Shock is some real open up the pit type shit and will cause many a person to get punched in the face at a live show for years to come.
And they'll like it.
Um, yep, and they will pay for it again. This song is over 10 minutes and is amazing for every single second of it. It's hard to define anything within their songs as verse or chorus. But what I would call the chorus of Never Seen is one of the most anthemic parts of the album and reminds you that they can actually be really catchy as they can be technical. The strings in the second half of the song complement the soaring guitars super well. Only between the Buried in Me could pull off songs like that. Stare into the Abyss is one of the moments on the album where like you can kind of regain yourself for a minute. It's one of the shorter songs on the album, but does a good job being almost like a palate cleanser for the second half of the album. And it, of course, my note here is that a fucking sitar in prehistory or what? Whatever it is, I love it. I love how they bring in these like crazy ass vaudeville elements with prog metal, like a weird fucking Panic at the Disco like approach to music. A sentence I'm sure no one's ever combined between the Buried in Me and Panic at the Disco. Uh, but Bad Habits, The Future is Behind Us, and Turbulent are all fantastic. I feel like there's not much I can say about those songs that I didn't say in some way about another song on the album. If you're going to listen to this album front to back, like you should be, then at this point you're just along for the ride, and you're going where they take you. You only know to expect the unexpected. And of course, they end it on an epic note, a 15-minute prog metal masterpiece that blows whatever is left of your mind away and still leaves you wanting more. The album is everything and then some. It's heavy, it's melodic, it's theatrical, it's nostalgic, it's challenging, and it takes chances. In short, it's perfect. 10 out of 10. My favorite songs Fix the Air, but I kind of consider Revolution and Limbo and Fix the Air one song. So
Fair.
both of those are just that's perfection to me. I had a feeling we were both going to land at a 10 for this one.
I mean, fuck, man.
I think the only close second in terms of like rock music would be Gojira this year, especially for this even
Yeah.
caliber, but I don't put that one quite at the 10 level that this is.
You know, it's rare when an album lets you escape reality as much as this album did for me.
Yeah.
It completely just detaches your brain from whatever the fuck else you're doing and commands your attention. Now, it's one of those things, man, that I get sad that people who don't like metal won't be able to experience this the way that people who do like metal will. And it just makes me sad that some people are like, no, people they scream, I can't do it. No, bro, this is art. Like like this is the
Yeah.
most art that you can be in metal. Like this is the most art you can be in metal. And they fucking killed it, man. This album really sent me on a fucking journey, and I just checked. I really just checked to see how many times I've started this album over, and my first most listened to track this month is Monochrome.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
and you don't listen to Monochrome by itself. That's the intro to the album. So,
Yep.
I figured I'd share that little tidbit. And yeah, man, it's special. I'm glad you and I both felt that this is perfect because it is. It's one of those perfect
Yeah.
ones. So
So the answer to your question, what album's better, Feed Me or Between the Buried and Me? If you're making me pick, it's Between the Buried and
right.
Me.
I mean, I'm a huge fan of Feed Me, and I'm a huge fan of Between the Buried and Me. And God, man, did you also go back and listen to Colors in full?
Yeah, oh, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah. Yeah, and he did a few interviews about it too, and
Oh,
they
we
were
did.
kind of just like they just got to a point where it wasn't like we're following Colors up because it's an anniversary. It's like Colors was about analyzing humanity. And I feel like with everything that was going on in the world last year, I was finally at a point in my life where I had something to say about that again. And that was kind of where the idea to do Colors 2 started.
So if you go onto Between the Buried and Me's Spotify page, you will see that all five of their top songs, in fact, if I click see more, all 10 of their top songs are this album.
Yeah. I don't think that's most played. They do have songs with like millions
It
of
is
plays,
most
but
popular, though.
yeah, most popular.
And I'm sure that there's
Exactly.
an algorithm that figures that out. I tend to trust that algorithm in this case. And it really tells you something because, look, when Drake releases an album, there's no way that it's going to kick God's Plan off of his most popular songs. There's just no way, right? And
No.
you're talking about, I'm pretty sure he's number one or number three in the fucking world on Spotify.
Yes.
But when a band releases an album that does that, replaces all 10 of your top songs with a song on a new album, to me, that just speaks of perfection and just amazingness. So
Yeah.
just wanted to throw that little tidbit in there.
Love it.
All right, are you ready to talk about
Aaliyah?
Aaliyah?
Yeah. Oh man, so you didn't know the story of her. I know you know who Aaliyah is.
Obviously.
Yes. So famously died tragically very young,
Yep.
at easily the height of her fame in a plane crash. So there's a whole lot of weird shit coming up about her and the whole R. Kelly shit again, but we're gonna table all that because that none of that has anything to do with this really. But so since Aaliyah's career is very confusing. Her first album was done with a certain label. I don't remember who. That's Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. That album has been on streaming forever. That album isn't owned by her uncle, who she ended up signing to after that album, which I
Got it.
think the label was called Blackground Records, and they released all of Aaliyah's music. When she died, they still owned all of the masters, but like there was just this weird lack of transparency and nobody knew why nothing was on streaming. And she just had this very bungled legacy. Like her family didn't own the masters, so they couldn't put it on there. And the label was being silent, probably trying to sell them for money or something. And there's just been all this weird shit. It's very hard to clear an Aaliyah sample in mainstream music. Like there's
Interesting.
so much about her music that has this mystique around it because of the way that whoever owns her music, her uncle Larry, I think, or Barry, um, just has this weird grip on it and wouldn't let anybody have it. He's kind of come out to say like it was just a matter of like working deals over time and making sure it was the right thing, and saying that like it's just not easy to like grieve the loss of a relative and deal with all of this. But I feel like that's kind of a cop out, dude. Over 20 years, like
Bro,
fucking
definitely a
you're
cop out.
she would want her music available to her fans, you know? So they started rolling her albums out. They're not doing them all at once. This was the first one we got. I think the next few are going to be all released in September. She only had, I think, 3 solos and then a couple soundtrack songs that were actually really big. Um, I really didn't think this day was ever going to come after the past few years. This album definitely not most of like this album doesn't contain a lot of the hits that she's really known for are still on the radio, but it's a
Mm-hmm.
giant album in terms of like R&B significance, both for the genre and her legacy. Um, she's extremely dialed in. This is the most 90s R&B album she ever released before going a little bit more pop. Uh, I didn't really do like a review for the album. I just kind of listen to it every once in a while, enjoying that it's accessible now. I think it's somewhere between a 7 and an 8. One in a Million's always the song I go back to. The whole album was produced by Timbaland and Missy Elliott, which is very special.
Definitely very special.
Yeah, it's a piece of history that I'm glad a lot of people are getting to finally experience.
Well, so fun fact, I had never listened to this album front to back. I had never listened to the entire album, at least.
Hmm.
Obviously, I've heard a few of these songs. Some of them sparked, some memories of growing up in the '90s.
Yes.
And Aaliyah's voice is obviously legendary. It's quintessential mid '90s R&B. That's for
Yeah.
sure what this is. It's nostalgic, and while I had never listened to the album all the way through before, I think it obviously made a mark on people during that time. There's probably a bunch of people that have this CD still, which is
Hmm.
probably the original one they bought at fucking Tower Records or whatever, you know? And yeah, I mean, my favorite parts for me, all these bass lines are funky. Give it up to Timbaland for that. And she
Yes.
really sings beautifully. She's got this iconic voice. I actually rated it. I gave it a 7. I really enjoyed this album.
Yeah, it's a great album. If you're into 90s R&B and never had a chance to really listen to it, especially in the last 15 years, definitely log into your streaming service and listen to it. I think it was kind of weird because the numbers froze a little bit, but I'm pretty sure the song One in a Million had 5 million plays in an hour and a half.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
That's
So I think there was some demand.
yeah, it's at 6.7 million streams right now.
Yeah, it's pretty wild,
That's
man.
great. That's great. Well, thanks for adding it. I'm glad I listened to it all. It's a great album.
Yes.
All right, I think we have one last album.
Yes,
Or
we
did you just
do.
hear? We've got Disclosures, Never Enough.
Yeah, kind of a little EP. I don't know, a lot of these felt like throwaways to me. They released another EP like this a few years ago called Moonlight, and
Correct.
I remember it going in one ear and out the other kind of for me, like this one kind of did. They're not bad songs. We know what they're capable of, and we have certain expectations for their release. Settle is an all-time great album, a perfect 10 if there is one, but everything since then hasn't really hit me quite the same. I've enjoyed a few songs off their past few albums, but I'm still hoping they like lock themselves in the studio and reach new heights that I didn't think that they were capable of. It's kind of like what Flight Facilities did. We wish they would release music more often, but like when their first album sets a standard, you want to make sure your subsequent releases live up to that. I don't really think this is a case of their subsequent releases not living up as much as them just like maybe releasing everything that they write. Like, here's another song we made. Throw it on an EP if it doesn't fit on an album, which make your money, but I don't know. It's just not something I'm going to revisit. I gave it a 5 out of 10. Never Enough was my favorite track on the EP.
So I'm just going to read you what I wrote down. I'm a little torn on this. I like the more old school house sounds, and they do this very well. Obviously, it's Disclosure. The
Hmm.
issue is that literally everything they put out is and will forever be compared to Settle and Caracal.
Hmm.
They're inherently pop records,
Yes.
produced by house producers. So it's pop produced house music, right?
Hmm.
I did enjoy all of these tracks though, and as is tradition, the percussion is immaculate, but for a Disclosure release, it's a 5 out of 10, man. I also chose Never Enough. I think I tried to really put into words what my problem with it was, because it's good house music, and if anybody else had put their name on it, I would have been like, yeah, this is great house music. But because it's Disclosure, it leaves this kind of like, okay, but like, where's the heart? Where's the pop in this? And
Yeah,
it just
exactly.
kind of leaves you with this sour, like, okay, well, now I have to go listen to White Noise, like.
Yeah. Give me Latch. Give me something real here.
Exactly. So it's just one of those things, and I think we're either going to have to come to terms with the fact that they're never going to release a Caracal or a Settle ever again. And I mean, Settle is just an incredible album. It's a 10. It's a 10 out of 10. It's a perfect house record.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, I guess we're just going to have to come to terms with that, with the fact that they may never release that
Oh
again,
man.
something like that again. Hopefully they do. Prove me wrong.
Hopefully they do.
Disclosure, come on the show and tell me how wrong I am.
Yes, please come on. We'd love that.
The next thing I threw on here was Ginger, and I'm not going to rate this album. It's Ginger's album Wallflowers. I did give it a listen yesterday, and I also listened to it this morning, but I'm not ready to sit down and review it yet. I just kind of put my first reaction out here, John, and my first reaction is Jesus Christ, this is heavy. Yeah, her voice is out of control. I just need to sit with it a bit.
Yeah. Well said.
I think that even with Between the Buried and Me releasing music, I think this might be heavier than that.
Yeah. No, it might be consistently heavier. I wouldn't say it's technical or crazy, but
Oh,
definitely
oh
heavier.
no, definitely heavier.
Heavier in almost every sense of the word. Yes, I agree. We have a crazy month coming up. We're gonna have Ginger kicking off our next month's playlist. We will add that Jaden album. We will add that what's his name? The techno album you were gonna
Oh,
add.
Stefan Bodzien's Power of 10.
Yes, Power of 10. And it sounds like this upcoming week we're possibly gonna have Drake and Kanye new albums.
Oh man.
There's a lot to look for. Oh, Boys Noise
Oh
is coming
fuck.
out with a new album, I believe, this upcoming week as well. So, a lot to look forward to, a
Oh
lot to
boy.
cover. It's going to be a fun month.
I'm excited. I'm very excited for all of this, and I can't wait to talk to you about it. Honestly, I doubt that you and I are going to be able to contain talking about the Boys Noise album specifically.
Yes.
Maybe we'll get on the mic again
We
to
will
just review
be
that one.
raving our tits off in the meantime.
Yeah,
But
man. All right. Well, this was a fun episode. We actually got through a lot in a shorter amount of time than we typically have, and I'm really glad that we had so many albums hit both of our album of the year contenders list.
yeah,
I think it's time to sign off. Delete this playlist. We'll leave Ginger on here. I'll archive it right now, and I hope everybody has a great week.
peace.
Bye.